Stars Friday night and again Saturday night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
And at the moment, we stand at 61. The feels like is 55 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we got a couple of highways down to one lane because of crashes. I'm looking at one right now in North County, eastbound 270 at Riverview. Left lane's blocked, only the right lane's open. EMS on the scene. It's at a standstill back at 367. The other one is southbound 55. This one before Richardson Road, only the left lane's open there. It's a solid jam almost at Butler Hill now on southbound 55. Southbound 55 is a little busy past Arsenal. Other than that, South 270, Dorset down to Olive is backed up just before Olive. It looks like we may have another problem there now. Then it's slow south of Olive all the way down through Manchester because we had a couple of earlier troubles in those stretches. South 170, stop and go pockets south of Olive to 64. Westbound 64 on the brakes approaching Kings Highway out through McCausland. Clayton, Worcester, and Lindbergh slow approaching Clarkson at Topgolf heavy, and it's heavy pockets west of Winghaven all the way out to 70. Kings Highway headed out through Jennings Station. The airport out to 270 is kind of busy, and then Lake St. Louis out through 61. Westbound 44, just some slow traffic around the bridges, doing a lot better out across River to Pear. Eastbound 70 east of the Mutual Veterans to 64, and 64 stop and go stuff approaching 111 to 157. Next update at 5:20 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, guys, welcome in. Thursday on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt, Pauley, and Kevin Wheeler taking you up until 6 o'clock. And then Matt's got you from 6 until 8 o'clock with Sports Open Line. Following the Cardinals' loss today, 6-2, the final against the Brewers. It's, I don't think any of us are really in the whole let's break down wins and losses kind of mode yet. We're early in the season. Today was a bit of a clunker, but the way that they've been playing kind of due for one of those, right? I mean, rough start for the game for Palante. The bats didn't get going against three pretty good arms in the first 7 innings, and then two really good arms at the end in McGill and Uribe. You got to them, but those guys both have had major command problems so far this year. But you got to them a little bit, but didn't get anything against the first 3 guys. It's just, to me, it's just a game. You got beat today.
Yeah, you tip your cap to the Brewers and their pitching.
Yeah.
I think it's right to be a little bit frustrated with Palante's first inning, but he was frustrated with his first inning.
Yeah.
Because he said, and let me ask you this, Kevin, because this is actually one area where I have a hard time understanding it, and I think a lot of people listening so often will hear pitchers after the game, and this is exactly what happened with Palante today. Palante and Ollie said it in his postgame. They were very extreme in saying that he got away from the game plan there in the first inning, and then all of a sudden things went haywire. And so often with a pitcher, you'll hear, they'll struggle. They'll maybe issue walks or whatever, and in the postgame they'll say, "Oh, well, I know I need to pound the strike zone more." But why do pitchers sometimes just get away from the plan that everybody knows should be the plan, but all of a sudden, just like inexplicably, it goes out the window all of a sudden at moments in games?
So that kind of thing. So you could say, the catcher did it. Right, but that's not really Page's rep, right? Pages is known for executing a game plan. Like, he's a good game caller. That's probably his best positive attribute. That and kind of like a leadership role behind the plate. So I wouldn't go there. I would say it's most likely because you'd failed to execute early in counts and you had to get away from the plan to get back into the strike zone or to get back into making pitches that you could throw over the plate. And it was a little bit like that to me when I watched Palante today. He didn't execute enough early, and when you do that, you're going to have to change the game plan. Other times it's just a focus thing. Guys just, but these guys aren't, unless you're shaking off your catcher nonstop, you're not calling your own pitches.
Right.
Now you have the right to, and I don't think Palante's not a guy that has the pitch comm that he calls the pitches.
No, he doesn't.
So in that case, it's most likely you failed to execute early in counts, and then you had to change up what you're doing, and that you went away from your strengths.
It's something we don't talk about enough when it comes to that is with the pitch comm and also the pitch clock. If you're a pitcher, you don't have the opportunity to shake off your catcher multiple times. You can maybe
shouldn't have to.
Right, you shouldn't have to, but we've all seen those moments where the pitcher and the catcher just can't get on the same page, and that can't happen in today's baseball because of the pitch clock. You have a very limited amount of time until you have to commit to a pitch.
Well, you have real issues, communication issues, if you're shaking off more than once.
Agreed.
I mean, maybe twice, but I mean, based on your pregame meetings, scouting reports, all of those things that go into prepping, you shouldn't have to shake off more than one time.
You shouldn't, but we used to see it happen.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't see it happen.
Yeah, because what would happen is you just step off and tell them start over.
Right.
And Matt, that means don't give me what you just gave me.
But you lose an engagement now.
Yeah.
Or if it takes too long, there's an automatic ball called. I'm just saying the rules have changed where you don't really even have that option as much anymore.
You don't, and again, you shouldn't need it. And in the era where that existed, which is not that long ago, but I mean, the amount of preparation and the amount of planning that goes in, they're very specific, very detailed. It's if you're not executing, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It can be a lack of focus, but again, your catcher is your guide. If you're not following your catcher, well, that's just on you.
Especially when it's, to your point,
right? Especially when somebody
there,
that does a good job,
right?
Yeah, and
even Ivan Herrera, that was one of the things we talked about. Well, how much better can Ivan Herrera actually get in the offseason defensively? And that was one of your and mine talking points.
Well,
for
I'm
a long
throwing
time.
not easily, but the other stuff he's worked on.
One area that I think I always was very strong about, and you generally agreed. You can tell me, but the academic side of it, of knowing what to call and just calling a game.
Yeah,
I thought that was something that you could see improvement from.
Sure, the planning.
And there's been no issue this year with Herrera when it comes to game planning.
Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. I mean, obviously, he's an awful thrower, but it hasn't hurt them, to me, in many games because they've been scoring enough runs to not make it matter. But in close, in big games, it would matter. In close games, it would matter. In a playoff series, it would matter, but I wouldn't think he'd be catching very much in that scenario.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going up against a team that can run. You'd be much more likely to protect him from that. And you look at it, he didn't catch today, but he's caught a lot for Palante. Palante holds runners very well. And this team has held runners pretty well to my view. I think their pitchers do a pretty good job of that. So, that definitely helps Herrera a little bit, but it helps Pies a lot because Pies can throw. He's good. And, teams just aren't going to be able to steal on him very often with pitchers that pay attention. And you saw Palante with a pickoff today. And it was a really beautifully executed play. It was clearly, you had this in your mind. He's got a good move, and you disguised it really well, and you sprung it on him with perfect timing.
And that goes back to something we've talked about before, where having more staff allows you to dissect so much more video. So when the runner gets on, everybody already knows maybe there's a tell. Maybe this is somebody that we've got an opportunity to pick off. Like those. Sometimes people ask about, well, what's the actual impact of having more staff? That's a good example today.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance that they knew that they were going to try that today if he got on just based off the extra video study that they've been able to do.
Yeah. And, look, today was pretty simple in that first inning. It wasn't very complicated. It was just you made too many mistakes, and then you made the big mistake to Vaughn and hit it over the fence.
It is frustrating when all the runs come with 2 outs.
Yeah. I get it. But to me, it's no more or less likely that you're going to make a bad pitch because there's 1 out or 2 outs or whatever.
It's just a frustration thing.
Yeah, and your odds of scoring go down when you get to 2 outs. I mean, there's just no question about that. Palante's to me in an interesting spot. He's been okay this year. It's been okay. Yeah. It's not been great. It's not been terrible. But for him, it's workable. Like for a back of the rotation starter, what he's been is fine. He's got a 4.34 ERA after today. That's fine. For a back of the rotation starter, it's fine. Part of the problem is you've got like 3 or 4 guys that kind of profile the exact same way right now.
If he's your 5th starter, like you said, it's fine.
Yeah,
if he's your 5th starter and you have a couple legitimate top of the rotation guys, then it's really okay.
Yeah.
The problem is when, like you said, when everybody in your rotation would slot in as a 3 or 4 or 5 on some of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, let's not talk Dodgers. Let's just talk about Cubs, Brewers, Braves. Where does the best starter to this point has been Liberatore?
I'd probably lean May.
Dustin May?
Yeah.
Do they fit in the top 3 for any of those teams I just listed?
Not right now. May could get to that point.
Right.
But no, not right now.
Yeah. So to me, this is what's interesting. You've had what is a pretty middling rotation. It's not terrible. It's not good. It's middling. And you're still winning. And you're winning because you're scoring, because you're hitting for power, things we talked about yesterday. If there's a way for that to improve, better pitch execution from Matthew Liberatore, right? Better command. You know, if you look at what he's allowing right now, I mean, he's allowing a lot of base runners and a lot of hard contact. Those things are fixable.
Very much so.
They're not. He's not going to turn into a strikeout guy, but you can reduce the amount of hard contact that you allowed by making better pitches. If Leahy can be better, and he's going to get rope, and I fully support giving him that leeway to kind of work through and figure out how it's all going to work at the big league level. There are things that can be fixed, but it won't be dramatic. It won't be like any of these guys are going to profile as a top 3 playoff starter by the end of the year.
No.
Unless it's Dustin May. He has that stuff where if he's in the zone, and if you look his last 5 starts, what's he, a 2 ERA? 1.9, something crazy like that?
Mm-hmm.
He's only, he just gave up 3 runs in 6 innings in his latest outing. That was his worst outing in his last 5.
Yeah, you just get rid of those top 2 starts, and he's
those
got
first 2.
caliber numbers
He's
right
been
now.
really good.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't strike people out, but he can still dominate with velocity and ball on the ground because that sinker is just nasty. So to me, that's going to be one of the biggest tells: is can you fix the holes in the bullpen, and does the rotation hold up? Because almost everybody in the rotation has worse underlying numbers than actual numbers. That's true for Liberatore. Yeah. That's true for Leahy for sure. It's kind of true for Palante, although it's pretty close in his case. It's not as true for May. May's are a little bit better than his actual numbers, but because those first 2 starts were so bad, it kind of skews the regular numbers. Over time, that'll balance out. So the question's going to be, can the offense keep it up? And there's room for it, because even if Walker slips, even if Weatherholt isn't as powerful moving forward, Herrera's going to hit more home runs.
He is. He's
going to produce more. Can you get more from Wynn? Are you going to get more from the outfield eventually, whether it's from Scott or Newt when he comes back? There are ways that the offense can get better in the later part of the year as we go.
Yeah, how good can Church be?
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, that's going to be the key to whether they can stay in contention and stay competitive. Contention's probably not the right word. Staying competitive and keeping yourself in the race. I know where you are now. I really want to be... I want everybody to be cautious about getting too excited. It's good to be happy. It's good to enjoy it. But 30, 35 games doesn't tell you enough to say it's real or it's not real.
No, and I think we've made that very clear.
Yeah. Well, you and I are the same page, yeah.
At the same time, I do think talking about when I say contention, not contention for the division, I don't think they're going to win the division, but can they stay in contention for a playoff spot? And you look at what some of these teams, and you look at the Phillies, and you look at the Mets, and you look at some other teams that had higher expectations, and them being what they were, if they don't turn it around, I think the Cardinals can be a team that can at least be in the playoff conversation.
Be nice. I mean, look, especially when you didn't willingly go out and add big pieces. You just created space for younger, talented guys to do their thing, and they're doing their thing right now. And with younger guys, the question is always going to be predictability. The guys that are predictable are guys that make a lot of money, and the reason they make a lot of money is because they're predictable.
Yes.
Like that, if you want to go, what gets you paid the most in Major League Baseball? You're good, and you're always good. And there's no, you're good for a year and down for 2 years and then good for a year. It's not that. Those guys don't get paid. The guys that get paid are good every year.
And that's the toughest thing about baseball. It's the ability to post in a single year and then do that again and again and again, and it's really, really challenging.
Absolutely. All right, we got a lot to do, man. We got to talk about not only what just finished up with Milwaukee, but we're gonna start looking ahead because the West Coast trip to San Diego and Oakland is gonna be really fun, really interesting. It's not that it's gonna be good or bad necessarily. We don't know, but it's gonna be challenging in a bunch of ways. We'll touch on that in a little bit. I do want to spend a couple minutes, Matt. Let's do this. We were talking about it via text. Let's talk about Matt Svanson a little bit too, because today's outing was like a tease.
It was a big tease.
The first two batters, you're like, all right, look at this guy. Just dominated two guys, struck them both out, and then the wheels fell off. We got to get into that. Again, not to hammer the guy, but to just talk about how do you get him where you can rely on him a little bit more. We'll talk a bit about that next up here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a couple of crashes creating jams on the highways. This traffic reports a service of financial and tax strategies. One up in North County still out there. It looks like they moved it to the right lane, though. Eastbound 270 just past the Riverview on-ramp as you get to the Chain Rocks Bridge. So still only one lane open. It's a jam approaching 367. And the bigger problem is southbound 55 before Richardson. Still only the left lane open past that crash. It's a solid jam back through Butler Hill. In fact, a lot of folks are taking 61, 67 now, and it's jammed from Merrimack bottom down through 141 as an alternate route if you're thinking about it. South 270 stop and go pockets from 364 all the way down to Doherty Ferry, slow 44 to Gravois. South 170 is on the brakes, Owl to 64, westbound 64 Boyle out through McCausland is bumper to bumper. It's slow Clayton Warson at 270, Clarkson at Topgolf. Slow approaching 364 to 70 now, so that part's a little bit better. Downtown westbound 44 is still heavy between the bridges. Northbound 255 approaching 162. We've got a backup, not quite midway back to 5570, but pretty heavy. Southbound Route 3 from the bridge down to Queenie's jammed. Eastbound 70's backed up east of the Musial Veterans to 64 and 64 on the brakes, 111 to 157. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, it's Thursday on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here till 6 o'clock talking cards. Let's talk about Matt Svanson. And really, we can expand this to a few different people. We can talk about Matt, and not specifically each guy. We'll talk specifically about Svanson, but the idea that we're going to get to applies to Victor Scott. It applies to Ryan Stanek. It applies to some of the starters that we just talked about. It applies to anybody that's really struggling. And you're trying to get Matt Svanson right, and these other guys too, in season at the major league level. And we're seeing the difficulty of that. Now, the good example is that Jordan Walker had a terrible spring, didn't execute anything, and they said, look, the only way he's going to get better is doing this at the major league level, and so far he's been excellent. So that's the principle that they're following with Svanson, with Stanek, of course, but Stanek's not going to get sent down. He's too much of a veteran. He could refuse it. And Victor Scott. Now, Victor Scott may still end up being in that position, but it wouldn't necessarily be because of this fixing him thing. It would be because it's just too crowded.
It has been moderately better for Scott lately.
How much?
He's got hits and what?
I mean, he had the home run and he had a single today over the shortstop, but I don't recall it being all that much in total over the last couple of weeks.
Kevin, he is on a 2-game hitting streak.
Oh! Well, it's not really a streak until it's 3, right?
When you haven't done it all season. This is the first back-to-back games where he has 3 hits over his last 2 games, and he has a 2-game, whatever you want to call it, streak, not streak, whatever. And literally, this is the first time all season long that he has at least 1 hit in back-to-back games.
All right.
So he's on a hot streak.
Okay. He's 2 for 9 in May, but it's only a few games. And that's before today. So really, he's probably what now, 3 for 13.
He's 3 for his last 6 over his last 2
All
games.
right.
That's a 500 hitter.
Hey, I'm going to go with the major league definition. You got to get to 3 for a winning streak. One more, and it's a winning streak. But one more, and it's a hitting streak. But the idea of fixing guys on the fly at the major league level, I'm curious about two things. One, will it work with Swanson? Will it work? And I think it's the reason I wanted to bring this up because I think it's harder for a reliever than it would be for a starter because a starter can throw bullpen sessions.
Yeah.
Because they got 4 days off minimum in between starts, sometimes 5. So they have the time to be like, I'm going to throw a bullpen session on my bullpen day, and we're going to work on these things, and we have time to do it. And a reliever really can't do that because then they're down for days, and you need availability in your bullpen.
And you can't control, like, in a perfect world, you say, okay, we're just going to kind of move these guys to a low leverage spot.
Which is what they did with him today.
But you can't guarantee.
But it's not getting better.
And you don't know how often a low leverage spot's going to come along.
Right.
Like, you can't control that.
Yeah, and that's the good point is, that's their bullpen session essentially is getting the low leverage. But it's not predictable. You don't know when it's going to happen. And then when it doesn't work, then what? Because with Swanson, I'm not at the point where I'm like, get him out of here, he's hurting the team. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how are we going to get him right when all he's doing is failing all the time? And I don't say that to be mean, but when you look at his game log, there have been very few games where it's clean. Today was such a tease. Like, he looked great for 2 batters. It's like blowing people away. And then the wheels fall off. It's a 101 mile an hour single and a 109 mile an hour double, and then a walk. And it's like, all right, but where are the signs that it's getting better? Because his hard hit rate is the worst in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And then you throw in on top of that, he's near the bottom of the league in walk rate. I'm not seeing any progress. You might see a flash here and there of a batter or two, but whenever he's going out there, there are very few times when you see it, the adjustments being made that are fixing anything.
Yeah, I guess we need to define flash versus progress because, like you said today, you saw it through 2 batters. And then the wheels fell off. He had that game, and wheels fall off maybe too strong of a word. But
I wouldn't say that's okay. No, I wouldn't say that. When 3 straight guys get on base, 2 of them are rockets and 1's a walk. That's wheels falling off.
He had the game against Pittsburgh where he gives up the home run, and then he strikes out the next 3. So it's really easy to come out of that and look at it and say, well, he locked in and he got the 3 strikeouts, but he gave up the home run.
That's not really. It's ultimately about, as a reliever especially, it's ultimately about, are you getting the job done or not?
Yeah, but we're also. Generally, I would agree with what you just said, Kevin, but when somebody's on a trail of trying to get better, I do think there is some legitimacy in looking more inside of the appearances and seeing, is there any progress? So you can look at those first 2 outs today, you can look at the 3 strikeouts against Pittsburgh, yada, yada, yada. If they're going to say that the best way to get him back going is to be on the big league club, then I think that next domino that falls down is the stuff that I'm saying. I don't think it would have been the worst thing in the world to get him to Memphis and just let him kind of reset down there. I'm not even saying that I fully agree with what the Cardinals are doing. I'm just saying they're doing this. This is how you look at some of these outings, and whether it's a rationalization or whether it's real.
That's what it is.
Okay, whether it's whatever it is.
Because the job is completing your task without giving up runs, and he's given up runs in 10 of 17 outings. And in a lot of those, it's multiple runs.
But that would be like saying to a hitter who's all of a sudden, who's going from striking out all the time to hitting the ball really hard, but hitting the ball under really hard luck. This is not an apples to apples comparison.
No, it's the right idea, but the problem is he's not getting those hard hits. He's giving up hard contact, and he's not commanding. And those 2 things can't go together.
But if he's striking guys out, that's a step.
But he's not.
He is.
He's got an 18% strikeout rate. It's like he's in the bottom third in Major League Baseball in strikeout rate.
Okay, but we're talking about progress, Kevin. And look at what he's over his last 4 appearances. He has 5 strikeouts. He has 3 strikeouts in one of them. He had the 2 strikeouts today. One of the outings where he didn't have strikeouts, he did not give up a run. So you look at his last 4 outings specifically, you don't have to squint that hard to see how that is better than what it was before.
Well, it's 3 earned runs in 4 innings in those 4 outings, and he's given up runs in 4 of his last 5 outings.
I'm not arguing any of that.
Just saying, the idea that we're going to, and again, not you, the team is the one that they will focus on these tiny little victories, but that's not what the job is. Now, if you're talking about a hitter, hitting the ball hard is the job. You can't control the result. Where it goes and who's standing there and when they're standing there, you can't control any of that. You can't control if there's a 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing in and kills a home run and it gets caught as a flyout. None of that is the hitter's fault. All they can do is hit it hard. a pitcher, the result is way more important because the odds are in their favor. You're supposed to win those battles. That's the job. That's the nature of the beast. Hitters fail 75% of the time on average, which means pitchers succeed 75% of the time on average. So it's that curve we have to grade.
Okay, we got to get out of here for news here in a second. Let me just finish with this. I would disagree with you where you proclaim his strikeout rate, and then I come here and say, his strikeout rate over his last 4 games is probably 37, 38% with those 5 strikeouts over 4 innings. I'd have to do the math, but it's in that area. That is improvement. Going from 18% for the season to the strikeout rate being what it is over the last 4 games, there is improvement there.
But the job is not to strike people out. The job is to not give up runs. And he's given up a lot of hits and a lot of hard contact with that.
If he's striking a lot of guys out, the other stuff's going to come along.
Boy, we got to continue this.
Okay.
But obviously got to get to the news first up. We'll keep talking ball up till 6 o'clock, and then Matt's got more of that coming up on Sports Open Line here on KMOX.
And at 5:30, the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We have a cloudy sky downtown at the Arch. The temperature stands at 60 degrees. And President Trump says it's very possible the 2-month war against Iran could end soon. Says there have been good talks over the past 24 hours. CBS News national security analyst Aaron McLean shares context that there is no done deal until all parties have agreed on terms, and that still has to be done.
Apparently, it has been paused to create the conditions for talks. Not for a deal. The president, people keep saying, it's because we're going to get a deal. No, at most what's on the table from the Iranians is an agreement to talk about a deal.
It's the end of an era for the St. Louis County Police Department. Chief Kenneth Gregory is retiring after nearly half a century in uniform, including the last 5 years as the county's first African-American top cop. County Council honored his service last night with a resolution, and the chief reflected.
I don't care what I brought to them. There might have been some discussions. There might have been some differences about things that we were dealing with, but I've always had the support of this council, and I want to thank you all for that.
The search for his replacement began this month and begins from within the department's command ranks.
And we do have widespread support in the legislature.
That's Executive Director of Missouri Alliance for Animal Legislation, Bob Baker, asking Missourians to call legislators to pass a House bill that would mandate cross-reporting from a group of professionals that spot child, elder, or animal abuse. Prosecutors, law enforcement, AARP, animal advocates, and Missouri's Health and Senior Services on board.
We do have a few naysayers that are vehemently fighting this, so it's going to be a close call. And I would urge any of your listeners to contact their state representative or state senator and let them know that you're supportive of this bill. It's going to take a still more movement to get this across the finish line in the last couple of weeks of the session.
Some sick people from a cruise ship have been evacuated.
Patients suspected of having the hantavirus infection are evacuated from the cruise ship MV Hondius onto ambulances at Praia, Cape Verde, to be taken to the Netherlands. The Hondius, stuck off the coast of Cape Verde with nearly 150 people on board, is waiting to head to Spain's Canary Islands after a request from health authorities, despite local opposition. Meanwhile, health authorities in South Africa and Switzerland have identified a strain of the virus that can be transmitted between humans in rare cases. The World Health Organization, however, says the public health risk remains low. I'm Charles Philadelphia.
The Battlehawks are set to honor the greatest show on turf era, St. Louis Rams, on Friday night when they host the Columbus Aviators at the Dome. Head coach Ricky Prohl says he was a member of that Super Bowl winning team, and his son Austin Prohl was just a kid who remembers coming to work with his dad and cleaning helmets ahead of games.
That's just really what I remember from growing up is being around all those great players, from Marshall to Kurt to Oz to Torrey to Isaac. No matter who it was, just being around them, being in the locker room with them, and then, sharing memories, that I'll never forget.
Austin Prohl is the wide receivers coach for the Battlehawks and joined Chris and Amy. Coaches Dick Vermeil and Mike Martz, along with Marshall Falk, Mike Jones, Adam Timmerman, Tom Newton, Addie McCollum, and Jeff Scanina will be recognized at the game. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. look at that forecast from meteorologist Dave Murray at the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. For tonight, chilly temperature 42. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 65. Sunshine for Friday, maybe some spotty afternoon showers, but a high of 75. Right now, 60 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3. First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan. For the people.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
If watching TV has gotten way too complicated for you, then here's some good news. You can say goodbye to a million different subscriptions, wasting money and endless searching for something to watch, and say hello to Philo, a better way to TV. Philo's the only streaming service that keeps you in mind, making TV easy and affordable without sacrificing quality or the channels you love. With Philo, there's a package that's right for you. Whether you're looking for the best live TV on more than 70 channels, with a huge library of movies and shows, and an unlimited DVR, or you're looking to upgrade your experience with Philo's bundle, unlocking access to even more blockbuster films on top-rated shows on HBO Max Basic with ads, AMC Plus, and Discovery Plus. Whatever you choose, with Philo, you're getting great TV for an even better price. Find out more at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Subscriptions auto-renew, cancel anytime. See philo.tv for more.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the Auld Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, May 6th and May 7th. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our crash in North County on eastbound 270. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Right lane's blocked, and the ramp from Riverview onto eastbound 270 is partially blocked. Eastbound 270 is jammed almost at Old Halls Ferry right now. Westbound Highway 70 and eastbound 70 around Jennings Station's busy. The eastbound side actually is busier from 170 at that point. Westbound's just from Goodfellow. Also have a crash westbound 70 before 270 now with lane blockage. It's jammed at the Rock Road. After that, it's not so bad. Westbound 64, stop-and-go pockets from Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinker. It's still slow west of McKnight to 270 and west of Winghaven out to Highway 70. South 270 slow going, backed up briefly actually at 364. Then it's slow through Manchester, a little bit past 44 and approaching Tesson Ferry. Southbound 55 still a jam, Butler Hill to Merrimack Bottom. Southbound Lemay Ferry is jammed north of Merrimack Bottom to 141, and even Telegraph is jammed south of the Merrimack over to Jeffco Boulevard. The alternate routes really aren't any better than the interstate there. Eastbound 70 still backed up east of the Muswell Veterans and 64 on the brakes approaching 255 to 157. Next update at 550 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It's 5:41 in Mid-America. This time check brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, it's Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler with you here on Redbird Rush Hour, taking you up till 6, and then Sports Open Line from 6 until 8 tonight. What do you got tonight? What's going on?
Will Leach is going to be on the show tonight, which is always fun. Always great to talk with Will. We'll have a Battle Hawk on at 6:20. We'll have Jacob Sirsasimos. We got a few things going on.
Nice.
Talk a lot of Cardinals baseball. We'll open up phone lines.
Oh.
Always do that on days of the weekday day games
Yeah.
where you can't do that on the extra inning show.
Yeah, good times.
So people who are really, really angry
They've been
about
holding on to that.
Cardinals scoring 2 runs today, we've got an outlet for you.
I mean, again, today's just baseball happening.
Yeah.
You know, you've been playing well. You're not going to be good every day. But you've been good way more days than you've been bad so far, and hopefully they can continue that.
Today is under the definition of everybody wins 60, everybody loses 60. This is one of those 60 that everybody loses.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Completely agree. So when we're looking forward, and we were just talking about this idea of getting guys right at the major league level, there are different ways, different reasons to do it, right? Just as an example, if you're talking about Ryan Stanek, you're not sending him down.
No.
You're either fixing him or you're sending him home. And that would be the same way. Look at like Rafael Devers in San Francisco. He's been awful. It's really bad. And there's nothing good in the underlying numbers. And this is a perennial all-star making $35 million a year. Your only choice is to fix it at the major league level.
Bregman in Chicago.
Right, Bregman in Chicago. The only thing you can do with those guys, as we saw with Arenado and Goldschmidt when they got older and struggled, is move them down the order. It's really the only thing you can do. You have to play them because it's the only way they can get better. And if they don't get better, you're not going to be winning anyway. When you're counting on players like that, as we saw, right? I mean, as those guys decline, you're going to lose more games because you don't have the reliability there. So with veterans, it's different. You kind of have no choice but to do it that way. Otherwise, you're just saying goodbye, and that means you're paying them to go away and a lot of money to go away, and you may not have enough bodies to fill in behind. With the younger guys, it's not the same. And, when we talked about Swanson already, I don't want to revisit Swanson, but, that dynamic exists with Victor Scott. And in his case, though, he's going to run into competition. There isn't much right now for Swanson. I mean, there could be with Fernandez, but he can't come back yet. Not barring an injury. He can't come back yet. But when he's able to come back, they might have a decision, but they could send down another, they could send Schuster back down or
Who
whatever.
looked good today.
He did a nice job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a lot more of him against lefties than we've seen of Brule.
I feel like he should be pushing Brule right now.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. It's small sample, so it may not last, but he's looked better to me.
Yeah, me
and
too.
he's throwing more strikes.
Agreed.
Yeah, you can't be the guy. I know I'm not trying to be a smartass, but you can't be the guy that throws 90 and can't throw strikes. You can be the guy that throws 100 and doesn't throw enough strikes. Because when you throw 100 over the middle, you might get away with it. You're not getting away with 90.
You're not.
So that would be the problem that Brule's facing, at least one of the problems. But when you're talking about a guy like Victor Scott, competition is coming. Sounds like they've pushed back based on Derek Gould's mentions and his reports on Newt. They've pushed back a little bit. Sounds like they're shooting for early June.
Yeah, and Ollie talked about this
for Newt
on Gas House Gang.
Yeah. Yesterday.
Newt Bar hasn't played in a game yet.
Yeah. He's going to be, but he's going to have the 30 days. So it'll be 30 days.
With the player.
Oh, that's right. So
player.
20 days from the day he starts is when he's got to be back. So take early June 3rd, June 4th, and go back 20 days. That's probably when he'll start playing games.
Right. And they are going to try to basically run through an entire spring training in 20 days with him.
Yeah, because he's doing before he ever plays in a rehab game, he will be doing all the other things you do in spring training. Batting practice, live BP, facing pitchers, before games, things like that. So that's all going to happen.
And you can play in complex league games.
I'm not sure, but
for the rehab.
That may be where you do the live BPs and things like that. But then, 20 days of playing almost every day, because early you won't play every day. Early, it'll be like early spring. You'll get 2 at-bats and come out. And then you'll take a day off. And then you'll come back and you'll play and maybe go 3 at-bats and come out. Then you'll start back-to-back. By the end of it, you will have probably played every day for a week or 2.
That'd be the hope.
Yeah. That means it's going well, and then you could just jump in and be activated. And you don't have to wait for the 20 days. The 20 days is a maximum, not a minimum.
But with his situation, you're going to use almost all of it.
I don't know. If you get like a week out and he's looking amazing and he's running around and hitting the crap out of the ball, you might make the call early. But they may not have the incentive to make the call early, depending on what's happening with Victor Scott, which was the point of this angle on the conversation. Is he's going to have real competition if Church keeps playing well, and because Newt's going to play. Newt's not going to come up here and be a 4th outfielder. He's going to play, and maybe again he'll get days off. They're not going to run him into the ground. But that's going to be your starting left fielder.
And I do think the dynamics of the situation is a little bit different since the JC got sent down. I realize the JC is back now with the injury to Urias.
Right.
But the fact that they do show willingness to send down JC, that could be good for Victor Scott keeping a spot on the roster.
Yeah, could be. But if you're talking about getting fixed, you don't get fixed on the bench.
You don't.
You got to play. You got to take at bats to get better at hitting. All right, real quick, we got one more segment to go here on Redbird Rush Hour. Sports Open Line is coming up after the 6 o'clock news. Let me tell you about Gloria Lou. If you're thinking about selling your home right now, whether it's immediately or a month or 2 from now, or even later on in the summer, call Gloria Lou. I'm telling you, you're not going to get any better. If you want the most money, if you want the least amount of stress, and I have sold multiple homes. And I'm going to tell you right now, getting the best value with the least amount of stress is a great combination because I've not always had it go that way. And I wish at the time I was selling houses, because I didn't live in St. Louis at the time, I wish I could have called Gloria Lou. You can. Gloria Lou, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, has a system in place, and she's been nice enough to walk me through it and show me how it works. She'll do the same thing for you if you call. She sells homes faster and for more money than the average agent because of the systems that are in place, because she's got a database of thousands of buyers in waiting, and she has helped thousands of families in more than 20 years in real estate here in St. Louis. That experience, the proven systems, the guarantees. How about these? The written guarantees. Gloria will sell your home at a price and a time frame acceptable to you, or Gloria will buy the house herself. And if that's not an option for you, she'll sell your home for 100% of market value or pay you the difference. So with the written guarantees, the systems in place, the database, and the 20-plus years of experience, you're not going to beat that here in St. Louis. Call Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or just visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. And as always, seller and Gloria must agree on price and possession date.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
This is Matt Pauley inviting you to join me for Building Community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game. Tomorrow, during the Redbird Rush Hour, we talk to an athletic trainer who has committed her life to making sure amateur athletes can perform at the highest level by keeping them healthy. Sponsored by Busey Bank.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our trouble in North County with the crash. Eastbound 270 at the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Still the right lane blocked, only the left lane getting by. It's a solid jam at 367. Looks like they still have this backup because of that crash we had westbound 70 before 270. It's backed up from between Air Flight and Cypress out to that point, but after that, you're home free. Westbound 64, Science Center to Clayton Skinkers, slow. Lindbergh out to 270, busy on 364 to 70 is bogged down. South 270 approaching Olive de Ladue is heavy. There's a little slowdown past 44 and approaching Tesson Ferry. Southbound Tesson Ferry 270 down through Butler Hills jam. Southbound 55 is just backed up as you ramp on from 270 south through Butler Hill, then it opens up, so that definitely better to stick with the highway because your other alternate route, southbound 61 67, Lee May Ferry's jammed just south of Butler Hill all the way down to 141. Telegraph's jammed almost at the Merrimack over to Jeffco Boulevard, so that's not a good run either. 60 southbound 55 from Highway M down to Highway Z, you've got heavy traffic as well. Next update at 5:59 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Bring your home back to life with Zero Res, a fresher clean that you can actually feel. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them about the DGS KMOX deal.
This is Matt Pauley inviting you to join me for Building Community with Busey Bank Beyond the Game. Tomorrow, during the Redbird Rush Hour, we talk to an athletic trainer who has committed her life to making sure amateur athletes can perform at the highest level by keeping them healthy. Sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, just a couple of minutes left for us here on Redbird Rush Hour. Matt Pauley's got Sports Open Line coming up after the news. Anything left we didn't get to that we planned on? Anything that we left out from the Brewers part of this, or do you want to look ahead because you got the Padres for 4 games? The Padres are weird. They're off to a good start. They're only a game behind the Dodgers in the West. They have one of the better records in the National League, and neither Machado nor Tatis have hit at all.
Yeah, they're
I mean, it's a weird thing. Now they've pitched better than expected, from what I can see, and you know they are locked down at the back end of the bullpen. They've got 3 or 4 guys at the back of the bullpen that throw 100, and Mason Miller throws 104. So if they lead, they win.
There's a lot of good teams in baseball.
Yeah,
but I said
they're just a little weird because they're not hitting that much.
They're not, and we'll see. The Cardinals hope not to see too much of Miller over the next few days.
You'd like to see him not at all because that means you're not behind.
Or it's one of those situations where he hasn't pitched so much that he has to come in just to get an inning in.
Yeah, that'd be fine. We can do that. Yeah.
That's all right.
We can do that.
This Brewers team with Vaughn and Churio, they've already combined for 6 hits in their 2 games.
Yeah.
The guys that they replaced on the roster basically had 6 hits all year long. They've basically matched the production in 2 games of what that adds a little bit of, this Brewers team is a little scary with those guys back.
No, that's for sure. They've been getting whatever they've gotten done so far, they've been doing shorthanded on the offensive side. And it's not like Vaughn's a star, but he was good for them last year, and Churio is a star.
Yeah, and Vaughn will hit some home runs like he did today.
Yeah.
And I think Yelich is going to come back at some point.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so they don't put them in the trash can too soon.
No, they'll be tougher later in the year.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted them to play the second game today. All right, buddy, have a good show tonight.
Thanks.
Matt Pauley's got Sports Open Line for you next year on KMOX.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Why would life-saving care require a membership? In a real emergency, are you reaching for your wallet or your phone to call 911? And what if the member helicopter isn't the closest one? What if they don't carry blood on board? What if those differences matter? They do. Arch Air Medical Service is proud to serve Effingham and surrounding communities with life-saving air medical care. Our highly trained crews deliver advanced medicine in the air because when seconds count, capability matters more than a card in your wallet. Plus, we're part of Air Methods, the nation's largest air medical provider. Worried about cost? Here's the truth. The No Surprises Act protects patients with private insurance from unexpected out-of-network air ambulance bills. You'll only pay your in-network copay, coinsurance, or deductible. If you have Medicare or Medicaid, similar protections apply. Providers cannot bill beyond those limits. That means no air medical membership is needed. Learn more at airmethods.com. Copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are set by insurance providers, not Air Methods. Terms and costs may vary. Contact your insurer for details.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
On Saturday, May 16th, join KMOX and Grassroots Redeeming Love in commemorating 1 year since the historic EF3 tornado that devastated North St. Louis with a short morning of service. Volunteers will meet in the Kingsway East neighborhood from 9 to 11 to help clear tree limbs and trash. If interested in RSVPing for the cleanup or interested in donating to the effort, go to KMOX.com/events for more information.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change in North County with this crash eastbound 270 at the Chain of Rocks Bridge. It's blocking the right lane and partially blocking on-ramp from Riverview to eastbound 270, so it's still a solid jam. Approaching 367, just crawling bumper to bumper on eastbound 270 through there. They cleared that crash I mentioned earlier, was getting better. Westbound 70 at 270, just a little slowdown at Cypress, and after that, you're pretty much back on track. Westbound 64, a little slowdown at the city limits, and it's still busy from Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Highway 70. Westbound 64, the ramp to North 270 is backed up. Eastbound 64, heavy at the Interbelt. South 170, Brentwood to 64, slow. Westbound 44, backed up between the bridges. Eastbound 70, still slow. East of the Musial Veterans Bridge to 64, and 64 is still slow, approaching 157. From the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump says it's very possible the war with Iran could end soon. The president tells reporters in the Oval Office that there have been good talks over the past 24 hours and signals that Iran may be ready to strike a deal. CBS's Nancy Cordes with more.
So this wouldn't be some big overarching deal over Iran's nuclear program. It would simply say we are agreeing to talk about Iran's nuclear program, about U.S. sanctions on Iran, about frozen Iranian assets, and all the rest.
A Dutch cruise ship at the center of a deadly hantavirus is bound for the Canary Islands. CBS's Bradley Blackburn reports.
The World Health Organization says the risk to the public is low.
This is a really unique one-off occurrence, and we're not expecting any further spread.
The Spanish government says the ship will dock at the Canary Islands for a full disinfection in around 3 days.
The health ministry in Argentina says a Dutch husband and wife who died of hantavirus had traveled through Chile, Uruguay, and Argentina before boarding the MV Hondias on April 1st. And the experts are being sent to Ushuaia, Argentina, to test rodents for hantavirus. As Colorado deals with snow, millions across the Midwest and South are bracing for rain and a spring freeze. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
In the upper Midwest as well as the Great Lakes, a late season push of cold air. Not much of a storm system there, but as the clouds clear out during the night tonight and into tomorrow, temperatures will be well below average for this time of year. We're expecting frost and freeze alerts and warnings. They are in effect for portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, on into the northern sections of Illinois. So Chicago is included in that as well, and over into Michigan.
There's a threat of severe weather from the Big Bend area of Texas to the mountains of Georgia. The threat of heavy rain has prompted flood watches across multiple states. 5 of 7 Indiana Republicans endorsed by President Trump defeat incumbent Republicans who were able to sink a congressional redistricting plan did win their primaries for the state Senate. It was retribution from the White House, but Republican Governor Mike Braun throws cold water on the idea of attempting another shot at redistricting.
I think that ship has sailed due to the fact that the only place that can be entertained is probably in a way before your primary. And of course, ours has passed. DoorDash
says it expects more than $50 million in the second quarter on gas price relief for its delivery drivers. DoorDash said deliveries remained strong in the January to March period despite higher gas prices. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
At 6:04 right now, it's a partly cloudy sky. We've got 59 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Missouri House of Representatives passed a more than $50 billion state budget proposal. The Missouri Senate's working to pass all or parts of the budget proposal now. Highlights include the same level of funding as the current budget year for K-12 public education and for public colleges and universities. The spending plan does not include a pay raise for state workers. It restores proposed cuts to services for developmentally disabled adults and restores a proposed $51 million cut to the state's subsidy program to help low-income residents pay for child care.
To see this many people show up today to get something, like I said, it takes 5-6 months. We're doing it in 4 hours.
St. Louis police officer Darius Rutling on the force 12 years in the academy, teaching in the academy for 3, and he's talking about SLMPD holding a fast-track testing blitz, a hiring event to recruit a new group of police officers.
Officer Rutling explains what the process was like before this fast-track testing blitz.
Normally you come in, you'll take the physical abilities test, and like 2 months, 3 months later, you'll get another notification to come back and take the lead, the law enforcement aptitude battery test, and in 3-4 months, you'll get another notification to come and take the oral board. We're doing this in hours, so you just finish the PAT test, come downstairs and take the leave. You don't have to leave, go over here and do the oral board all today.
Rutling estimates about 100 people applied to be St. Louis police officers. If the recruits are accepted, they will have to go back for a psychiatric evaluation. There's also a background check. You cannot have a police record and be a police officer. As far as the age, you should be 21. Right now, the department is down about 300 officers. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Dick Vermeil and Mike Martz, along with Marshall Falk, Mike Jones, Adam Timmerman, Tom Newton, Addie McCollum, and Jeff Scanita from the St. Louis Rams' Greatest Show on Turf teams will be honored Friday night at the Battlehawks game. Ricky Prohl was a wide receiver on the team and made the catch that sent the Rams to the Super Bowl, now coaches the Battlehawks. His son Austin Prohl is also on the staff and was just 5 years old when that catch happened.
You know, we've talked about it a bunch. Obviously, he's told stories about it, and I've been around for a bunch of those. And, you know, it's a moment that really was a huge moment in St. Louis sports history in general, not just football, but sports history, you know, to make that catch and to go to the Super Bowl and then, you know, ultimately win it. I mean, it's a huge deal. And I think what a cool moment for the city and for that team.
Austin Prohl is the wide receivers coach for the Battlehawks. Kickoff against Columbus is at 7 p.m. on Friday. A new summer event for casual St. Louis runners just dropped. The Summer Sizzle Series features 4 evening races from June to August. The races range from a 2-miler to a 5K and will be held at 4 different St. Louis region parks. Go St. Louis director says the races are designed to feel more like a low-key hangout for runners than a summer competition.
We've seen this done in several other cities, and it can turn into a party. So, you know, we'll take year one step at a time and maybe bring out a couple food trucks, some ice cream trucks, something like that, and see where it goes.
The amount of protected Mississippi bluffland just 40 minutes south of downtown is exponentially increasing. The White Rock Nature Preserve is being nearly tripled after gaining an expansion of 1,000 acres. The move will connect the Nature Preserve to Salt Lake Point, bringing the total amount of protected land to 2,300 acres.
By our estimate, this is one of the largest contiguous protected blocks of Mississippi bluffs anywhere in the state of Illinois.
Jim Johansson, Illinois State Director of the Conservation Fund, says the expansion land is home to over 19 threatened and endangered species. It will open to the public in 2027. Let's get you to Roger Brand in the traffic center. Roger?
Well, unfortunately, Michael, there's still no change in North County on eastbound 270 to wrap it up for the evening. We still have this crash at the Chain of Rocks Bridge. The right lane's blocked, only the left lane's open. Traffic's still pretty much at a standstill on eastbound 270 from 367 up to the bridge. So just be prepared. You may want to head a different way. If you want to come through downtown, go across the Musel Veterans Bridge. It's just a little backed up Packers Avenue to 64. Other than that, westbound 64 looks pretty good. Just the ramp to North 270 backed up. Eastbound 64 is a little heavy at the Interbelt. The Interbelt southbound still slow at the Parkway. We still have some backed up traffic in Jeffco. Southbound Lee May Ferry from north of Merrimack Bottom down across the Merrimack is bumper to bumper, and Telegraph is jammed midway between the Merrimack and Jeffco from earlier folks avoiding 55. Southbound 55 is still slow south of M down through Highway Z, believe it or not. We need to talk about our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route. They're going to have road work overnight tonight. Restrictions on westbound 64 between Lake St. Louis Boulevard and Prospect, so your alternate route to get around that is obviously to take westbound 70, but you can cut over on Winghaven or Highway K to access that if you wish. I'm Roger Brand in the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Chilly times remain in play. It is a classic blackberry winter, partly cloudy skies. It is cool for evening plans in the 50s and 42 for the overnight low. On Thursday, partly to mostly sunny skies. It's a little bit warmer by a couple of degrees. It's still cool for this time of year, 65. Thursday night, clear and cool, 48. Friday, partly sunny, spotty afternoon showers, 75. A lot of dry time. Friday night, though, periods of showers and a couple of thunderstorms. Saturday, partly sunny, 80. Another round of showers and thunderstorms Saturday night. And then Sunday for Mother's Day, a couple of early morning showers, otherwise partly sunny and slightly cooler on Sunday, but nothing extreme, 72. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
At the moment, we've got some sunshine. It's 59 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX. This is the second of what? Do we have 4 straight days, basically, of full shows? Yesterday, we had the unexpected show because of the Cardinal rainout. We've got this. Cardinals-Padres tomorrow. Our pregame is after 8. And then even Friday, Cardinals pregame will be at like 7:45 or 7:50. So we have all but 10 minutes of our allotted 2-hour time, 4 straight days. I don't know when that has happened in the middle of a baseball season before. That is a very, very rare thing. But glad to be with you, taking you till 8 o'clock this evening. We got full program on the show tonight. Will Leach, the great Will Leach, is going to join us here in about 10 minutes or so. You hear him on the Scene Red podcast with Bernie Miklasz, contributes for MLB.com. Awesome dude. Big Cardinal guy. Love talking with him. Jarvin Howard, a Battlehawks running back, one of the top running backs in the league right now, is going to join us at 7:05. Jacob Sersasimo, our good friend from Channel 4, and Matrix Midwest, say that 3 times real fast, going to join us coming up at 7:20. Like I always say, on days of Cardinals day games, where we kind of roll through the extra inning show pretty quick, we don't take the phone calls and the text messages and the tweets and all that sort of stuff. We create some space on Sports Open Line to give you that opportunity. So that's going to be, we'll have a little bit later on this hour, probably a little bit in the 7 o'clock hour, depending on how a couple things go. But we will have that opportunity. So if you've got that hot take ready to go about the Cardinals today, about how it's all coming to an end now because they only scored 2 runs today, and this is the beginning of the end. If that's your, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, by the way. But if you do have things that you want to talk about with the Cardinals, we'll give you the opportunity to chime in coming up a little bit later on in the program. It was slow game today for the Cardinals. Offensively, they just didn't do much. They easily could have been being no hit well into the contest because the one hit that they had, the Ivan Herrera double, that could have easily been ruled an error. It was ruled a double, but if I believe it was Adam McCalvey, who covers the Brewers for MLB.com, is one of the really good baseball writers across the country. He made the joke that when the Cardinals did collect their second hit of the day, how the official scorer was able to, and that was Michael Miller today, how the official scorer was maybe able to breathe a little bit deeper, breathe a little bit more easier, I should say, just because it was no longer a situation where the only hit of the day was one that could have gone for an error. Cardinals ended up collecting 2 runs on 4 hits today, but just a quiet offensive day. They scored a couple runs in the final 2 innings against a couple Brewers pitchers that are really good and have great stuff in McGill and Uribe, but are a couple guys who are still trying to get it all put together. They're maybe they're the Milwaukee versions of Swanson and Stanek as they try, and they've even, McGill began the season covering the 9th inning, and he just hadn't done a very good job of it, so they've tried to put him into some lower leverage spots, but you would think that by the time the season comes to an end, they're going to be okay. This is a Milwaukee team, and Kevin and I kind of talked about this just for a moment. I think when they rain out yesterday's game and then they decide to reschedule it as part of what turns into a 5-game series later on this year, there's arguments for and against it. From a Cardinals perspective, the argument for it is, pitching. You're still trying to get your pitching to be a little bit more consistent. You're in the middle of 17 games in 17 days, and it was playing a doubleheader on getaway day before going into San Diego to play a pretty good offensive ball club in the Padres. You could be worried what that's going to do for your pitching. I get all of that. Also, by moving it back to where they moved it, that was the Brewers' opportunity to be 17 games in 17 days. Now the Brewers are going to be 18 games in 17 days. Cardinals are still alive. I think Cardinals are going to be 14 games in 13 days, if I have that right. It's somewhere in that neighborhood, if I don't have the number right on. So it's not going to be easier. It's not going to be easy for either. But I would say that the Brewers are not playing their best baseball right now. If recent history is any guide, they will turn it on at some point as the season goes along. Maybe this is the year where they don't. Maybe this is the year where they don't. And that would be great if that is the case. Nobody's going to be crying for the Brewers around here. But if they do what they've done before, you might be playing a 5-game mega series against a Brewers team that might be really chugging along at that point. Now we can play this on the other side as well. What are the Cardinals going to look like in July? Is there going to be a guy or two that you've brought up by that point that's a big part of what this team is doing? Is Lars Nootbaar going to have some sort of huge impact on this team? I don't think you can make that assumption. If anything, the Cardinals have kind of played over their skis to begin the season. Is there any worry that by that point they're going to be starting to fall back a little bit and you're going to have this 5-game monster series against the Brewers? So, again, I don't think the decision is made based off competitive advantage. Maybe that plays in there a little bit, but I would assume that the Cardinals were not super excited about the idea of playing a doubleheader the day before they go on the road to open up a long weekend series against San Diego and to close out this period of 17 games in 17 days. So I think there's a lot of logic in not wanting to play the doubleheader today. Even though it's logical, I think it could come with a cost depending on what things look like in July, and we'll discuss that more when we get to that point. Again, if you want to chime in on what we're talking about, you can certainly text into the program, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. Tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air. For those of you who are watching on the video stream, you can leave a comment. Again, we'll open up the phone lines, the text lines, and all the lines coming up later on for you to give your thoughts on what's going on with the Cardinals. Right now, though, we will take ourselves a break, and when we return, Will Leach is going to join us. Will covers Major League Baseball for MLB.com, or contributes to MLB.com, probably a better way to say that. Great writer, working for a bunch of different outlets, and we'll talk with him coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You are locked in to a Gray Bar Sports Open Line here on KMOX.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I've been burned before.
I was just repeating the same patterns. It turns out I had a type.
Workplaces everywhere are looking for love. And by love, we mean the easy way to order food at work. Easy Cater.
I thought ordering from great restaurants at work had to be complicated, but then I met Easy Cater. So many options, so flexible, and when I ordered for 50 gluten-free vegans without going over budget, I knew I'd found the platform I wanted to do life and lunch with.
Fall in love with Easy Cater. Start an order at easycater.com.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. A Mother's Day to remember. Join us May 9th and 10th at Warm Springs Ranch for the Budweiser Clydesdales Parade of Champions, a never-before open to the public chance to see our majestic stallions braided, polished, and showcased like true champions. Browse the gift shop and make a full day of it. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. Festivities run until 3 p.m. Enjoy live demonstrations and meet a Clydesdale up close. Tickets are limited. Go to warmspringsranch.com.
With summer here and the kids home full-time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about the Burn Balance Complex, which is available at supplement superstores. And it's Burn Balance Edge for the guys. It's Burn Balance Zen for the women. And what this is very simply a complete metabolism system. It's not just a simple fat burner. It's way more than that. It works with your body to get the metabolism working the way that it's supposed to. So what you notice right away, what I've noticed here in the first couple of months is your shirt will lay a little bit flatter, your pants fit a little bit looser. It's not like that as immediate, but it comes pretty fast. This is a great natural weight loss option for people that don't want prescriptions or injections. If those aren't for you, go to supplement superstores and check out the Burn Balance Complex. On top of getting the metabolism working, you're going to get reduced stress with lower cortisol levels. You're going to have appetite control and craving control, all-day focused energy without the jitters that come with energy drinks. And look, it's not magic. You got to do things the right way, but the Burn Balance Complex makes it so much easier. So get out to supplement superstores. Tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They will knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex for you right there, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
100 years, one legendary voice. Relive KMOX's century of service, classic audio, photos, videos, and more at KMOX100.com.
Awesome. All right.
right here on KMOX. Happy to be able to go back to the guest line and welcome in a friend of ours. He's all over the place, including he does the Cardinals podcast, Seeing Red, with our own Bernie Miklasz. He is a contributor at MLB.com as well. Had a really good piece here recently. We're going to get into that in just a moment. It is our friend Will Leach. Will, always great to talk with you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's unfortunately I don't get getaway games, nor do you. Like we see in baseball someday. Today was definitely a classic. Okay, it's a long flight to Southern California. I get it. It was a classic one of those games today.
At times it felt that way. Although to be fair, to give credit to the Brewers, that is the team that just they grow pitching like just about no other organization in baseball.
Which I think is kind of aspirational for what the Cardinals themselves are going to be trying to do in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it is. I wasn't going to talk about this, but since you brought it up, the Brewers are led by Matt Arnold. The Cardinals are led by Chaim Bloom. They both have Tampa Bay in their past, and it does feel like many things that the Brewers have done well over the last few years are some of the same type of things that the Cardinals are trying to do under Chaim Bloom.
Yeah, and actually some of the things that the Rays are still doing well right now. So it's really just kind of incredible how much of a pipeline that is. And, at a certain level, I know the Brewers are always a little bit confusing every year. I feel like every year they're like, wow, they've lost Devin Williams. They've lost Freddie Peralta. They've lost Barnes, and Corbin Burns, and they still come back and win every single year. And I think that's not an accident. That's not like a happenstance. They really do kind of mint that stuff. And you see, they've been able to keep their head afloat, really head above water, basically without their two best hitters, really, for three best hitters, really, for the last month or so. I think that just speaks to what they're put together and clearly what the Cardinals are going to be trying to put together as well.
I saw somebody, Vaughn and Churio is back, and Churio has just looked really good in his first two games back. Vaughn hit a home run today. Those guys have 6 hits in their first 2 games, and essentially the two guys that were in their spots in the roster had 6 hits all season long. They've already matched the production of those two guys in 2 games. So if you want to be scared about the Brewers, that's probably a reason to be scared.
And particularly because they're already still good. They were good with those guys just getting 6 hits in a month. So, yeah, the Brewers are well-positioned as always.
Did you see the thing about the Tampa Bay Rays? We're just talking about them. They're 5-10 against the NL Central this year and 18-2 against every other division.
Yeah, that's why they're not winning the AL East and they're actually one of the reasons that everyone in the NL Central is over 500.
Yeah.
So it's a very kind of strange year pretty much across the board.
Your piece that you wrote lately was you went through each division and you wrote how chaotic each division is. And the NL Central came in at number 3, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been chaotic. There's been certainly some chaos in this division.
Yeah, and honestly, the only reason it was 3 is because the Cubs are in first, like many people expected they would be. But it's funny how basically everyone in the division, particularly now the Cubs. Remember, the Cubs had kind of a slow start for a while before they really kind of took off. Everyone is almost everyone in the division, everything's landing exactly right for them right now. The Reds are winning all these close games. The Cardinals are winning all these close games. The Brewers are, as we talked about, are winning games without some of their best hitters. And the Pirates, it's funny, like Skeens has actually, he's been good. He's Paul Skeens, but he's not been the clear Cy Young winner we've seen the last couple of years. They've actually had some pitching injuries as well, but they're hitting a little bit better. So it's funny, all the things so far, and it is only May 6th, but all the things so far that every team in the division would kind of dream on have kind of happened so far. But of course, that's the thing about the division. That's the thing about the season. It's very, very long. And I think a lot of the things that Cardinal fans get concerned about or wonder about or wonder, is there going to be a turn? Or some of the Cardinals issues going to catch up with them at some point? I think other teams of the division can ask the same thing. The Reds' rotation was supposed to be their strength, and they've had a bunch of injuries, and they've got defensive problems all over the place. And the Pirates, their lineup is a little bit above its head right now, but you wonder how that holds. And and the Brewers are always kind of an interesting team anyway. So I think everyone's the best version of themselves right now. We'll see where we are in maybe June or July.
I mean, even the Cubs, and on paper, the Cubs are clearly the best team in the division, and offensively, they've had a tremendous start to their year. But you look at their starting pitching injuries, you look at a bullpen that at times can be questionable, you look at a guy like Alex Bregman, who they're really relying on, and this dude right now has got a sub-700 OPS. Even the Cubs, I think you can play the game, is this real or is it not?
Particularly because the one thing, the Cubs, you can make an argument, you can certainly debate, but of all the teams in the division, with maybe the exception of the Reds, the Cubs have the most on the line right now, right? They're the favorites. They're the ones that are supposed to win the division. They're kind of more all in, I suppose, on this season than other teams are. But traditionally, as we've seen from the Cubs on their supposedly all in years, they'll have holes on their roster and they won't fill them. I think that it's a little surprising how kind of hamstrung a team with the fan base and what you would think the budget of the Cubs would have. They tend to, there are clear holes in that rotation. You would think the Cubs would be a team that would be very aggressive to do that. Ask a Cubs fan if they believe that their team is going to be very aggressive at the deadline. And I think that's an opportunity for everyone else in the division to potentially strike as well.
It's always remarkable because there's stats out there about the teams that lead baseball in terms of revenue being put back into the club, and the Cubs are always near the bottom of that list. But then you go talk to the Ricketts, and they're going to tell you that they're operating, at a loss, or they're just, right at a break-even mark. So one of those things isn't true, and I believe the Ricketts less than I believe the other parts, but it is odd how they run their business sometimes.
And that's not even accounting for all the real estate that they have built around Wrigley Field. And remember, the one team in all of Major League Baseball that we actually know the finances of are the Atlanta Braves, because they're publicly traded. The company, Liberty Communications that owns them, they're publicly traded. This will come as a shock to you, Matt, but they made a lot of money last year. They did not operate at a deficit at all, and and if there's any team, to be honest, I don't know how the Cubs could not be making more money than the Braves are. They have a wider fan base, and I live in Georgia, but people do not say, when you're in Atlanta, you got to go to the Battery. The way they say you got to go to Wrigleyville when you're in Chicago, clearly the idea that that's not a huge moneymaker for them is frankly strains credibility. And so I think that but they don't spend. They don't spend, and I think that has left real opportunities on the table for them, and I think that has given more opportunities for the rest of the division.
We are talking with Will Leach here on Sports Open Line. We've alluded to this, but kind of the overwhelming question with the Cardinals right now is what's sustainable, what's real, what's not real. As you have watched this club, how do you feel about that? How sustainable is what they're doing right now?
I think maybe the most encouraging thing is the thing that I find most sustainable is the most important thing to be sustainable, which is the hitting. I look at some of these hitters and the massive difference. And listen, walks are up across baseball this year. I think ABS has a part to do with that, and it's just generally everyone kind of adjusts. I think that'll kind of equate as the year goes along. But certainly the Cardinals are walking at an unbelievably high rate right now. And guys that we've not always seen do that. The idea that Alec Burleson would be drawing walks, this has been a criticism of him as a player for a while, and he's drawing walks. Herrera's drawing a ton of walks. Obviously, Weatherhold, that seems kind of natural to kind of the kind of player he is. But the improvements that you've seen from these hitters, not just in in the walk rate, but even their chase rate and the launch angle, all the little things that certainly the Cardinals have had some frustrating offensive seasons the last couple of years. And what was, I think, one of the things that was frustrating about them is many of the hitters were frustrating in the same way. They would kind of go through these stretches where they'd really struggle, and then they'd have a run, and then it would fall, and then they'd kind of fall over for a week and a half. This feels sustainable to me. I do not look at the way that Herrera or Weatherholt or Burleson and even Walker, frankly, and think, this doesn't seem real to me. There's clear stuff behind it. You've seen the adjustments. You've seen the improvements. I mean, obviously every player slumps and comes up and down, but certainly when you look at the offense, there's real opportunity. Look at someone like Nathan Church. I mean, that's a player that's also gotten better. That seems to have gotten better in specifically this regime. That's exciting. That seems sustainable. That's the good news. The things that don't seem sustainable are the things that, frankly, are kind of problems now. I think that the bullpen obviously being a major issue with that, not just the fact that a lot of guys are really struggling, but because of that, because the Cardinals are playing well and they're trying and Marmol, I think correctly, is trying to kind of establish winning and trying to win now. There's relying on the relievers that are good, probably more than they should this early. The idea that Romero is pitching so much, Riley O'Brien keeps coming in the eighth inning. Those have been your best relievers, but that tends to wear them down as the season goes along. And I don't look at the way, whatever your thoughts about this season, I think it's exciting. I think it will be an interesting back and forth to see if there are 5 or 6 games over 500 in the middle of June, or even if there are a game ahead in the wild card or out of the wild card in July, what they do. Those will be interesting questions. But what I don't think we'll see between now and then is to be, hey, we got to make a trade for a bullpen arm. Like, I think in a lot of ways, this is kind of what they have for now, and that's a big weakness of the team, to be honest. I think the rotation strikeout rate's been up a little bit lately, but it's still nothing that's impressive. Those are issues they've been able to work around. But the problem is I think eventually it's going to catch up with them, and more to the point, I don't know if the Cardinals are in a position to be like, oh, well, we can correct that stuff to win this year, nor do I think they maybe want to be.
Let me finish you off with this, and the industry-wide thing right now in baseball is most teams are getting about 5 innings per start from their starter, and most teams are covering about 4 innings out of their bullpen every single night, and that's certainly the case with the Cardinals as well. It probably hurts the Cardinals more than it hurts other teams. Today, the Brewers pulled their starter, who's throwing a shutout through 4 innings at 76 pitches, and nobody even looks twice when that decision is being made. It feels like, though, that's hurting relief pitchers. Relief pitchers industry-wide are being used way too much. Do you think in the time moving forward, years to come, we might see an industry shift where teams actually try to start to get starting pitchers to go deeper into games just for no other reason but to help protect relief pitchers?
I'm not sure they will, if just because, frankly, relief pitchers by their very nature are meant to be fungible and potentially even replaceable very easily. I think the whole notion of a relief pitcher now is get a guy that throws really hard and use that arm as much as you can and as often as you can until their arm inevitably blows up. And by that time, and you go get it, then you can go get another cheap pitcher reliever and do the same thing. And I think as long as the industry incentives are to do that, I think it's a myth to this idea that pitchers aren't tough anymore. There's no Jack Morris. They don't like to go deep into games, and it's only those older pitchers. It's not that Justin Verlander is inherently tougher than these young pitchers coming up now. It's really that he came up in a time where they let starting pitchers do that, and they don't do that now. It's not because pitchers are gotten weaker. It's just the financial structure in a lot of ways is you can always find a guy that can throw, that has crazy stuff and can throw really hard, make him go all the way out. He's always going to go all out to throw as hard as he can because he wants to get a spot in the major leagues. Those guys are going to go as hard as they can. They're inevitably going to throw their arm out. They're cheap. Riley O'Brien is 31 years old, and he's making a minimum salary and will be doing so for the next 2 years. There's no incentive for teams not to just send him out there, and if he throws his arms out, that's why you're building up all this inventory of young pitching that you're trying to do. I think that's how the game is right now. I think the only way to really fix the idea of starters going longer is to change the financial incentive to maybe young players make more money in their early years on their contract and less of that's backloaded. Because right now I think teams are making the decision of not paying for relievers and just letting cheap guys throw their arms out and go get another one when you need one.
Hard left turn before I let you go. We're talking with Will Leitch. I read your review of the Michael Jackson movie in the Washington Post. You really did not like that movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a terrible movie. I mean, I find it kind of not debatable, to be entirely honest. That is not to say that Michael Jackson himself was a bad artist. He obviously wasn't. He didn't make the movie. He's been gone for a long time. Whatever one's thoughts about Michael Jackson's stage kind of controversies, as an entertainer, he was an incredible entertainer. And I think the one thing the movie does do right is Jafar Jackson, who's his nephew who plays him, is a terrific dancer, and he is able to impersonate Michael Jackson's moves very, very well. The movie itself, there were dramatic reshoots in it late in the process. It's very disjointed. It doesn't really make a lot of sense in a lot of ways. And I would say maybe one scene with a CGI chimpanzee in an emotional breakthrough moment may have been okay. 3 is asking a lot of an audience, if you ask me, to be entirely honest. But that is not to say that Michael Jackson's not a great artist. But boy, that movie, if as a simply structure of a movie storytelling device, it's hard to make the argument for it.
Will Leitch, he is the co-host of the Seeing Red podcast with our good friend Bernie Miklasz. You can read him over at MLB.com. Contributor with New York Magazine, Washington Post. He's all over over the place. He's fantastic. He's got his newsletter as well, which is great. If folks want to get that, what's the way to get in contact with you on that?
It's free. It's at William F. Leach, Leitch, at .substack.com. It's just Will Leach. It's Will Leach newsletter if you want to search on Google. It's right there. It's free. There's no upcharge. There's no, hey, if you subscribe after 5, we only have to pay for it. It's all free. It's free. It's just a way to find all of my stuff in one place.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking some time with us today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
That's Will Leach joining us here on the program. We appreciate him spending time with us today. By the way, if you tune in on Wednesdays at 6:20, generally we have Will's podcast co-host, Bernie Miklas. He was unavailable today. He's got some stuff going on. He'll be with us tomorrow. So if each week on a weekly basis, you live and you die with the Bernie Miklas Sports Open Line conversation, and if that's true, God bless you. Thank you. We appreciate that. We want people to be living and dying with our weekly content and our daily content here. But if that does describe you, you can change it in your calendar that we are going to have it coming up tomorrow at 6:20. That's when Bernie is going to join us for his weekly conversation. Here's what we are going to do next. We are going to open up the phone lines. We are going to give you the opportunity to chime in on what is going on with the Cardinals. We always say that when we have a weekday day game and we don't do the full extra inning show, we try to open up the phone lines to you. So, and text line, tweets, whatever. If you want to chime in about the Cardinals, this next segment is the opportunity for you to do so. You can call in at 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can text in to that number as well. You can leave a comment on the video stream for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or you can, what's the last one? You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. I'll hand the keys to the show to you for the next 20 minutes or so. That's up next. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Stan Musial, he missed a season in his prime to serve his country in the Navy.
Honor a legend on Saturday, May 16th, when the Cardinals face the Kansas City Royals. Fans can secure a Stan Musial military bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Redbirds. This patriotic collectible celebrates Stan's Hall of Fame career and his service to our country. A true symbol of character on and off the field. A tribute worth displaying and remembering. Don't miss it. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Some Sundays are made for the water. Sunday, May 17th, as the Cardinals take on the Kansas City Royals, make it a ballpark day too. That day, you can score a Cardinals boat tote presented by Coca-Cola and Walmart. A classic summer bag that fits right in from the dock to the dugout. It's ready for long weekends, sunny afternoons, and whatever plans you have next. Get tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett. I'm a board-certified master arborist, and I've been caring for St. Louis trees for over 25 years. Today, I'm going to help you choose a tree care contractor. Here's how it's done, so pay close attention. First, call everyone you know who has ever done any type of outdoor work, including that cousin that used to sleep on your couch. Leave them all messages and wait around to see if they call back. Here's a hint, they won't. Now, post to all your social media that you are looking for recommendations for a good tree service. Now beware, because there will be hundreds of different recommendations. So you need to carefully go through each one, checking that they have the proper insurance, background checks, and even the slightest idea of what they're doing. Schedule a bunch of appointments, and when nobody shows up, get really frustrated and put the whole project off for another year. Or you could just call Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or visit us online at stltreecare.com.
Working hard but still falling behind? Learn how real estate investing can help you build income and move forward with purpose. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code CLEAR to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code CLEAR to borrow up to $10,000. Use code CLEAR to borrow up to $10,000.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today, and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it. It's a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Would love to chat with you. This is the segment that I give to you. It's our I guess our post-game segment, since we didn't really do it during the extra innings show today. If you want to chime in on anything Cardinals related, we've got some space for you. 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Let's grab our first phone call of the night. Kevin has given us a call. Hey, Kevin, you're on Sports Open Line.
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me. To give you some context of how long I've been a dedicated Cardinal fan, I went to my first Major League game, 8 years old, Old Sportsman Park, 1963. And the first baseman that day for the Cardinals was Stan Musial.
All right.
The third baseman for the Cubs that day was Ernie Banks. And the right fielder for the Cubs in the second game of the doubleheader was Lou Brock.
Okay.
A year before he got traded to the Cardinals. So I've been around a long time. So two observations. One is I really am loving what Jordan Walker has done in terms of his discipline at the plate. I look at things a little bit different in terms of at-bats, and today was an example. You know, he walked a couple of times a day. He's not swinging at those bad pitches, and he's doing damage on good pitches. And a year ago, he probably would have been 0 for 4 and had another strikeout or two. So thumbs up for Jordan Walker. But here's my plea, and I understand all the reasons why we would trade Riley O'Brien at the deadline. But I love this guy because he's just got nasty stuff. He throws the ball down the middle and it runs left or it runs right, and he's unique. And I hope that we can hang on to him, especially if we're in the hunt for a playoff spot at the deadline. So those are my comments.
All right, Kevin, certainly appreciate it. Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit torn on that one. If the Cardinals are still in legitimate playoff contention, I would definitely want them to have Riley O'Brien in the ninth inning. That seems like the best possible scenario for winning as many games as possible. At the same time, Riley O'Brien is 31 years old with an injury history. And no matter how good he is, he's 31 years old with an injury history. And this is still a team that's very much in the cycle of trying to add as much talent to the organization as possible. And there is a scenario where O'Brien brings in a high level of talent, and he's not a big part of your long-term future. So I understand wanting, I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm just giving the reasons for and the reasons against. Now, if the Cardinals were to fall off and all of a sudden they're not so much in playoff contention, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope they continue to play really good baseball. But if they do fall off, I think moving him certainly makes more sense in that situation. We got a message on the stream saying, I wonder what the Cardinals' record is over the last 3 seasons against a starting pitcher they've never faced before, first-year player that doesn't have much tape to scout. Yeah, I don't think that's the last 3 years thing. I remember growing up, you go back to Tony La Russa teams. Like, it always felt like the Cardinals could be one of the best teams in baseball, and then all of a sudden they're going up against a random guy, and it just kind of isn't there. And I remember, back then, the Cardinals were considered, top of the line in terms of using data and things like that. They're not so much now. It's getting better under Chaim Bloom, but they haven't been here recently. But there's other teams that have been better in using data in recent years than the Cardinals for sure. But that seemingly is a Cardinal thing. And, Sproat today, he's had some okay appearances, but at the same time, he came in with a +5 ERA, and his last couple starts had not been especially good. Let's grab George, who has given us a call. Hey, George, you're on Sports Open Line.
Hey, Matt. I just wanted to say that the Cardinals, they need that left-hander Brule to be DFA'd. I mean, all he does is walk and walk and walk, and I bet you his ERA is about 6.0, and if it wasn't for the automatic 3, he'd probably be pitching to 1 or 2 guys. Every time he comes in the game, he walks and sets up a big-ass inning, and and I know we need something besides that.
Who would you like to be in his place?
Well, I mean, there's got to be somebody out there. I mean, maybe even from Memphis.
Okay, and I'm not trying to appreciate the phone call, George. Look, Justin Brule hasn't been good. He hasn't been good. He's got a 4.81 ERA. No, he's got a 5.29 ERA. Excuse me. So he's got a +5 ERA. His walk rate is 12 walks to 9 strikeouts, 12 walks and 17 innings pitched. Batting average against is 220 against. I guess that's not terrible. I know a lot, and I've brought up Bryson Motz's name before. I don't think they're ready to make that move quite yet. I am curious to see what happens here with Jared Schuster, and if he looked really good today, does he push Brule for some time? I wish this organization had some more ready-made guys to go, and they don't. I understand the frustration with Justin Brule, but there's an equal and opposite move to every move, that sort of thing. I mean, that's just that's physics, right? Like if you move on from Justin Brule, you're bringing somebody else in. The organization is very worried about pitching depth at this point. Brule has left a lot to be desired. I thought there was a chance when they actually sent Ryan Fernandez down. At that moment, I thought there was a chance that maybe they do DFA Brule, thinking that he probably doesn't get picked up by another team. And even if he does, you can probably go get somebody of his stature back in. So I understand the frustration with Justin Brule. I also don't think it's like a huge major issue for the reason the Cardinals are losing games. But he isn't having a good year. He's at a 5.29 ERA, and he has 12 walks in 17 innings. That's a lot of walks. Larry is giving us a call. Hey, Larry, you're on Sports Open Line.
Wow, thank you very much. I am pretty darn proud of the Cardinals, and if I had money back when the season started, I don't know what their odds were as far as making the playoffs or even having a winning record. But I guarantee you that they will have a winning record, and I'm pretty sure they will make the playoffs, or they will be darn close to it. The youth on the team is amazing. And what I've seen from Jordan Walker is just incredible. I was so worried. I thought we would give up on him. But now we know that he can do the job.
Yeah, Larry, I appreciate the phone call. And I still think the jury's out a little bit on Walker. Like, I'm not gonna say 6 weeks proves that he's the guy that we thought he could become. But I'm as optimistic as almost anybody about him. I think there's a lot of real to what we've seen. I was very much encouraged by the fact that when the early season home run barrage kind of came to an end, and all of a sudden it felt like the league had figured him out a little bit, he made an adjustment back to the league. So let's give it the season and see what Walker's numbers look like at the end of the year. I'm not ready to proclaim him as a middle of the order all-star bat, but it's a good and pretty good place right now. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. More in a moment on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Artificial intelligence is coming to the hospitality sector. Hotel operator Choice Hotels announced that it's integrating AI across its operations by using Amazon Web Services to help guests with booking hotels, while helping franchisees with financial management and guest communication. Choice Hotels' brand roster includes Radisson, Cambria Hotels, Park Plaza, and Quality Inn, among others. I'm Jason Brooks.
In today's fast-moving job market, staying ahead means keeping your skills sharp. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we help keep your capabilities cutting edge with our skills-based education programs designed to move your career forward. Explore more than 135 degrees and certificates in business, cybersecurity, and more. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer. Haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9 or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
Experience an evening of love, beauty, and lush soundscapes as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs Ravel's Daphnis and Chloe. 3 extraordinary pieces come to life, from Ravel's masterpiece to the world premiere of Nathalie Joachim's Family to Kevin Putz's evocative Virelai. Nearly 300 musicians, May 8th through 10th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441 all fours. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Severe weather is forecast from Texas to Georgia tonight, with Mississippi and Alabama at highest risk for tornadoes. This as a late spring snowstorm has started to taper off in Colorado after dumping about 2 feet of snow in some mountain communities. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
After a winter with a paltry amount of snowfall for the Rockies, especially across Colorado, they are getting their share of wintry weather now. Very late in the season, but the Winter Storm Severity Index is showing at least a 90% probability of more impacts from this snowstorm across the state of Colorado, especially up and down the I-25 corridor.
President Trump says the U.S. is making progress toward a peace deal with Iran, even as he warns bombing could resume if negotiations fail. CBS's Natalie Brand.
He reiterated that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and said that they've agreed to that. Now, we have not yet seen a response from Iran to the president's latest comments. And we do also know that the president issued another threat saying that bombing would restart at a higher intensity if they do not agree to a peace deal.
Investigators are trying to figure out where exposure began after the deadly hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship off the coast of Africa. CBS's Tom Hansen.
The Dutch Foreign Ministry says those 3 passengers believed to be infected with the deadly hantavirus will receive specialized medical treatment in Europe after a high-stakes evacuation off the MV Hondius. Now a debate is raging over what to do with the nearly 150 remaining passengers, just days away from reaching the Canary Islands.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has been questioned by members of the House Oversight Committee about his relationship with late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California has accused Lutnick of changing his story as new facts have emerged. Republican Committee Chairman James Comer says Secretary Lutnick was very transparent, but
if we find that there were any misstatements by Lutnick, it's a felony to lie to Congress, and he'll be held accountable.
Synthetic chemicals known as PFAS leaked into northwest Georgia rivers from carpet mills for years and into the drinking water, according to reporting from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Associated Press, and PBS's Frontline. They say Georgia's Environmental Protection Division was warned but did nothing. Corinne Bell is with the Natural Resources Defense Council. She says PFAS
has been linked to a wide range of harmful health effects like cancer, liver, kidney, and thyroid problems. So These chemicals are very potent, even in small doses.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
At 7:03, we've got sunshine right now, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. A lawsuit challenging Missouri's takeover of the St. Louis Police Department went to trial today in Jefferson City. A criminologist testified overall violent crime dropped under local control, though the state pointed to a rise in homicides during that same period. Co-plaintiff Jamala Rogers tells Fox 2 the fight is about more than just crime numbers.
It violated the vote of the majority of people in the state of Missouri, so that's the primary thing.
The trial continues tomorrow morning at 9 at the Cole County Courthouse in Jefferson City. St. Louis County leaders are looking into a wave of frustration over uncollected garbage. Councilman Dennis Hancock of the Fenton area brought up the issue at this week's council meeting and called for a formal committee hearing to investigate the trash delays. He says he's noticed a sudden spike in calls from constituents.
We've received in my office for the last 2 weeks at least 20 complaints about trash pickup and the sporadic service that our residents are getting.
Other council members say they're hearing the same thing. Hancock, we have to note, is running for county executive. The council is expected to schedule a hearing with the Justice, Health, and Welfare Committee in the coming weeks to address the trash collection issue. KMOX has reached out to the company, Waste Connections. We'll let you know when we hear back. A small business success story. Dogtown Pizza started 20 years ago in Rick Shaper's kitchen. He says he would always make pizzas for his kids.
I was having a pizza party one day, and my neighbor, who's a firefighter, said, I can't make it to your pizza party. Can you put one in the freezer and I'll bake it tomorrow? And that's where I got the idea.
This year, Dogtown is on track to sell 2 million pizzas. They've moved out of Shaper's Dogtown Kitchen for a production facility on the north side. He says frozen pizza sales have not declined in 40 years. The forecast overnight tonight, partly cloudy. It's going to be almost cold with a low of 42. For tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 65. For Friday, some spotty afternoon showers, but otherwise it'll be a sunny day with a high of 75 degrees. Right now, we've got some sun. It's 57 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it here on KMOX. We are efforting right now the leading rusher in the United Football League, St. Louis Battlehawk, Jarvin Howard. He is going to join us hopefully in the next moment or so. So we'll kind of vamp here for a moment as we wait for him to get in contact with us. Looking forward to talking some Battlehawks football. They've been playing some better football here recently, which is good, and they've got a big weekend set to come up this weekend as they are going to have a special event set to take place. They are matched up against Columbus. That is going to be this Friday night. Over at the Dome, and there's going to be a number of members of the Greatest Show on Turf going to be there. Dick Vermeil, Marshall Falk, Mike Jones, Adam Timmerman, Andy McCullum, and others, all scheduled to be part of this coming up on Friday evening. So hopefully there's a really, really big crowd that is going to be there for this coming up on Friday night. You know, even though the Rams have left us, what happened when they were here, we still always appreciate that. And those names that I just mentioned were such a big part of it. And guys, you know, the fact that Ricky Prohl is the coach of the Battlehawks is a big part of what's going on. They're coming off a Thursday win last week against Louisville, 16-3. The week before that, they handed Anthony Becht and the Orlando Storm their first loss of the year, winning 25-17. So they're on a 2-game winning streak going into this Friday night game against Columbus. And right now, we're very happy to welcome on to the program. He is the leading rusher in the UFL. He is Jarvin Howard, and he joins us on the program right now. Thank you so much for taking some time with us today. How are you doing?
Man, doing good. How y'all doing, man?
Doing all right. So this team has really kicked into gear over the last couple weeks. Mentioned the Thursday night win against Louisville, where only 3 points allowed. And then even going back a couple weeks, what did it mean to you guys to go to Orlando, matching up against the former Battlehawks coach and Anthony Becht, and handing them their first loss of the season?
Man, it was a big one, man. You know, of course, any win is a great win, and it's hard to win. So, I mean, we took that with a grace of we was happy. It didn't matter if it was Anthony Beck or not, but it did hit home for us, doing our thing down there in Orlando against Coach Beck. But man, we had to take care of business. That's what we came to do.
Mention the numbers that you are putting up as the leading rusher in the UFL: 301 yards on the ground, net to 296 yards, so right around 300. Tell me about what's going right for you and what's allowed you to get off to the start that you have this season.
Oh, man, just trusting the process, man. I know before I came in, I knew what I had to do. Just putting the work in day to day, just knowing what the task is and what the team need me to do. It's a blessing, man, but a lot of hard work is put into it. And, man, listen, my O-line is working very hard, man, to get me to this point. But the ball is special. It's 5 people that can touch, more than 5 on our team. It's multiple people that can touch the ball, but I'm grateful to be in this position, man. It's just I gotta keep spinning, for sure.
Absolutely. When you talk about the offensive line, how much do you really appreciate the work that those guys do to help you go out and get your yards?
Man, I appreciate them so much. It's hard to actually be people don't understand. I mean, I'm the one who's touching the ball, but you got to think about it when the dirty work is handled in between the trenches. I mean, you have the big guys up front that's moving. I always have this slogan, this saying that I tell them before I even touch the ball: if you can walk 3 yards, I can run 30.
I like that. I like that a lot. For a guy like you, you were in with the Packers for a little bit. I know you almost had an opportunity with the Bills. There was an injury situation right there. Back with the Battlehawks for a second season. What are you looking to show? Because I know you want to help this team win, but also I'm sure you're trying to make sure that NFL teams out there know that you exist and the kind of work that you can do.
I just want to show that, man, an obstacle is real, like overcoming an obstacle, man, because those times of me being in those positions to actually like go out and, I was in the door of the NFL, but I want them to show that this not a fluke. It's a reason that they keep pulling my name. I just want them to know that it's a real reason that they are pulling my name. It's not a fluke. It's not. And I'm here to show like that it's for real. That I'm an all-around back. I'm not just a running between the tackles. I can catch the ball. I can block. I can be accountable, and I will work through some things.
How important, you mentioned blocking, how important is it as a running back to know that, yeah, you're going to get the opportunity to touch the ball a lot, but there's going to be some times where you're not touching the ball, and you still got to do some things to help out your teammates?
Man, that's what it takes. I mean, you got to think about it on the next level. I mean, those are the cash cows standing back there beside me, the quarterbacks. If you can't protect the quarterback, you can't be back there. And that's the thing that I was taught when I was younger. You have to protect this quarterback. It's precious to have anybody back there throwing the ball and calling shots for you. But you have to keep them upright. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I just know I have to come to do. They don't take our in the league. They don't take our entertainment taxes for no reason. I have to be a great actor. When the ball's not in my hands, I know what I have to do with it. I have to take the heat off everybody else. I mean, when I'm in the backfield, I'm confident enough that you have to have at least 7 in the box. If I can give you, sir.
No, go ahead. Please finish.
If I can get somebody to at least tackle me when I'm not getting the ball, or at least put their hands on me, I've done my job. Now, somebody else, when they get the ball in their hand, I know it's open because I did my job.
This weekend for the Friday night game, I know a lot of guys who are associated with the St. Louis Rams and the Greatest Show on Turf with Dick Vermeil and Marshall Faulk and Mike Jones and a bunch of other guys are going to be around for that. I know you're a fairly young guy. Do you have any memories? Do you remember that group? That St. Louis Rams group. Does it mean much to you guys that this group is going to be around your team this weekend?
Yes, because when the St. Louis Rams was moved to L.A., we are basically what they used to be, based on how the fans approach us every day. It's like the fan. Every time we come into St. Louis, they treat us like we the Rams, and I just wanted them to see that it's still a electrifying city regardless of the Rams being moved to L.A. So I just want them to see, like, the Battlehawks is a real thing, man, regardless of what level it is. We coming to show out and put on the show, regardless. And just watching Marshall Faulk, being a running back and watching Marshall Faulk and seeing how he ran the pill, I just really want to show, like, they have a running back over here that was something similar to me, you know, that is accountable, that can come and get him between the tackles and, you know, do his thing.
Yeah, the things that you mentioned earlier, that's a great description of Marshall. He could run it. He could certainly. He's one of the best in the history of the league in terms of, you know, catching it, especially on the flat. He was not afraid to block when he needed to. So I like that you mentioned all those things, because that's what turned Marshall Faulk into one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Always love talking to you guys. Brian Stahl, who does a great job doing public relations, he always kind of gives me a little heads up on some of the personal stuff going on with you guys and parts of your personality that are good to talk about. I understand that you are a very, very big dog lover. Talk to me about that a bit.
Oh yeah, man. That's. I don't have any children, but I feel like that's close enough. And that's exactly how I see it, man. I love my dogs. I love them, man. Just spending quality time with them. That's who I do it for, man. Right now, you know, I do it for myself, of course, but just seeing the little giving me paw and just seeing the energy that they need from me from day to day, and I love it. Like it's something about it. They truly special to me, man. I can't even explain it. Like I could really sit here and tell you a lot about everything else, but this particular topic right here is kind of hard for me to dig deep because I just love them.
Okay,
That's all I can say.
I won't go too deep, but just names of the dogs and the type of breeds they are.
Man, I got 2 dogs. I got 2 French bulldogs. I got Stitch, and I have Gloria. Gloria is an all-gray French bulldog, and I named her after the hippo from Madagascar.
Huh.
And I named Stitch. He's furry. His birthday was in June something. I don't know when his birthday is. And if you look at the background of Stitch, his experiment numbers were 626. And I don't know when my dog is born, but I know he was born in June something. So I named him Stitch, and I just gave him his birthday is June 26th.
All right.
So 626 is, yeah.
Now, do you know the history? You said Gloria. Do you know the history with the St. Louis Blues and their Stanley Cup run and the song Gloria and the play Glory? Do you know all that? Or am I?
I don't.
Okay, the year the Blues won the Stanley Cup, there's a song, Gloria, and the Blues were terrible, and they were at a bar, and that song came on, and it kind of became the theme song for that year, and they went on to win the Stanley Cup. So Play Gloria is a very, very big St. Louis thing, so it's perfect that one of your dogs' names is Gloria.
Gloria, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's ironic. That's crazy.
All right, other thing for you, I also understand you're a big thrifting guy. You go to thrift stores a lot?
Man, every city I go in, I done looked up, before we even hit the plane or hit the road, I done looked up a thrift store to go to. I catch me an Uber, go check out different thrift stores, and just rate them, and just I bring something back with me pretty much every time. Every time. I thrift probably every weekend.
Where did that start?
Just seeing how expensive things are, and just knowing like it ain't about what you put on, is how you put it on.
All right.
That's my
I love it. I love it. Well, the Battlehawks are in action. Hopefully, tons and tons of people get out to the Dome. They haven't played at home in a few weeks now. A Friday night game. So this is great. 7 o'clock kickoff. You can get tickets at the Battlehawks website, the UFL.com. Again, a bunch of members from the Greatest Show on Turf going to be there. Included in that group, Dick Vermeil, Marshall Faulk, Mike Jones, Adam Timmerman, Andy McCullum. And we want a lot of people to get out to support the Battlehawks this weekend. Jarvin, great to get to know you a little bit. Really enjoyed this conversation. And best of luck to you and to your teammates the rest of the way.
Man, yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man. And yes, please pack the Dome out so you can see what's going to happen.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate the time. Again, Battlehawks in action coming up on Friday night against Columbus. Get on out there. Cardinals are back on the road, so you don't have anywhere to be. Go watch the Battlehawks against the Columbus Aviators on Friday night. We'll take a break. When we come back, our good friend Jacob Sersasimo from Channel 4 and Matrix Midwest, he's going to be with us. It's Grib, our Sports Open Line, as we are taking you till 8 o'clock tonight here on KMOX.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98, with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices. No pressure, right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Biz-Dash 5K, presented by Worldwide Technology, is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, this high-energy corporate race is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour, combining fitness, fun, and unbeatable team bonding for companies of every size. Runners and walkers of all levels are welcome. It all comes together at Energizer Park Thursday, May 7th in downtown St. Louis, an office party like no other. Create your company team today at STLBizDash.com.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600. Summer's here. Is your backyard ready? If you missed the spring rush, Artistic Decks can still make it happen. From premium wood to maintenance-free composite, get the quality you deserve. Don't wait. Call Artistic Decks today at 314-280-0821.
Is your financial advisor working more for your retirement or for his? Find out the real story behind the financial industry with Greg Ayler, Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Back at it on KMOX, it is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Cardinals played earlier today, losing to the Brewers 6-2. They split the two-game series, which was originally a three-game series, but we lost a game yesterday. They'll be played in July. Cardinals back at tomorrow night when they open up a big weekend series against the San Diego Padres. Happy right now to welcome on to the program. You see him on Channel 4 and also on Matrix Midwest as a sports reporter, sports host. He's our good friend Jacob Sersasimo on Twitter at Jacob Sersasimo. Jacob, good to talk to you. How are you?
I am great, Matt. Pauley, how are you?
I am good. Glad to be able to discuss things with you for a few moments or so. So let's zoom all the way out for a moment. Cardinals are playing some pretty good baseball right now. What is your surprise level? Not just what their record is, but kind of the way they've done it. They've done some unexpected things, whether it's the power that they've shown, the amount of runs they've been able to score, winning despite some things that you thought might be a strength, not being as much of a strength. Just give me your thoughts on where this team is at right now.
What you just said is like my favorite thing to do is zoom all the way out, because I think if you look at the game today against the Brewers, I was at the game, wasn't necessarily the most entertaining game when it comes to what the Cardinals were doing. The Brewers scored 6 runs with 2 outs, so it's not necessarily great, but I think I like to zoom out and ask fans, like, would you take what they're doing right now if I told you this is what they were doing in January? And almost every answer would be absolutely. They're competitive in the NL Central. They have a winning record. They played the Dodgers and the Brewers this weekend, and I believe they won, 3 out of their 5 games against those two teams. And then they continue to have success on the road. They're 11-5 on the road to start this season. They're having really good at-bats. They're competitive. They're fun to watch, and they're kind of the talk of the town right now. You look at them right now, they're 21-15, second in the NL Central. Like, I think if you look team, you have to be happy with what you're seeing, and I think Cards fans are definitely happy with what they're seeing. I think that's the right approach to the way you asked that question, Matt Pauley. It was zoom all the way out. Would you take this? And I think a lot of fans would say, this season, absolutely, I would take that right now with how this team is playing, how much fun they are to watch, and the success that they're having early in the year.
As we zoom back in, Andre Palante today gave up 4 runs in the first inning. He was beating himself up pretty good during his post-game media session, some very short answers, and was not happy. He talked about the fact that he kind of went away from his game plan in that first inning. He locked back in after that. He ended up giving the team 6 innings, which was key going into a series in San Diego where you might need as much pitching as possible. But it was I almost felt bad for Andre today when I was listening to him talk in the post-game, because you could just tell how upset he was at himself.
Yeah, I was in the clubhouse postgame. I was there for that postgame, and it was awkward, and it was uncomfortable, and it was weird. But I guess when you want to have answers that are that short, you're expecting them to be awkward and uncomfortable and weird. And I think the most important thing is it seemed in there he just knew it was unacceptable, and he wasn't happy with it. And what I liked about it is sometimes when reporters are asking questions, it seemed like answers, when they're really short and they're sharp, it seems sometimes aimed at reporters. Right. I mean, Matt, you've probably been in scrubs before where they're like really short and it's like, okay, that felt personal. Those answers didn't feel personal to the reporters or the people that were in that scrum. At least to me, they didn't feel personal in there. It was more, guys, I wasn't happy with my outing today. I understand you're asking questions. I'm not happy at all with what I did, in that first inning, and it was unacceptable. And it seemed like a more reflection of him mad at himself and going, I'm not going to sit out here and act like I'm happy with the other 5 innings I gave today when I'm really unhappy with that first inning and how things got away from me, especially getting the first 2 batters out and then, hitting Contreras and how it all kind of unfolded. But I think if you want to look glass half full here, of course, being able to still go 6 innings after what he started with there in the first inning, giving up that bomb and then moving on, you have to be happy with him being able to give you time there because of how the bullpen is, and they're in a 17-game stretch. I know they had a rest day yesterday, but they need those arms going into San Diego, and him being able to give you time, of course, is good. But, yeah, that first inning definitely got away with him, and it was kind of disappointing there if you were at the game or watching the game, just because of, he was in so much control over the first two batters.
I think what you said about him, that not being towards the reporters, but just the frustration with himself is important. And yeah, I know Andre a little bit because I'm in the clubhouse and I talk to him a lot before games, but I was listening we played that audio in our Cardinal postgame show, and my initial reaction to it, just hearing the audio and not even seeing it, was this is a guy who's upset at himself. He's not upset at the people who are asking the questions. I tried to convey that on the radio, and I think it'd be very easy to hear that and think that maybe he was upset at the people that were asking the questions. So it's good to very overtly say that wasn't the case.
Yeah, and I'm in the clubhouse with you. I sat down with him and Jupiter. Like, Andre's not a mean guy.
No.
Like, we've all had conversations with him. Like, he's a very nice guy, but at the end of the day, you're a professional baseball player. You're getting paid to pitch, and if it doesn't go your way, you can only stand up there and answer questions so many times and be like, I worked hard and we didn't get it done. At some point, you kind of know what the stakes are of your position this year on this team, and you get frustrated by it, and that's what happened today.
The NL Central continues to be a division where every single team is above 500. And I will go out on this limb and say that when 162 games have been played, not every team in the division is still going to be above 500. As you take a look at this division, and maybe it is the Cardinals, what's the team or who are the teams that you feel like are going to eventually kind of fall back?
It could be the Cardinals. I think when you look at, it's no secret, the Cardinals even talk about it themselves, where they're like, no one expects us to be anything, and we're continuing to do what we're doing. I think the trouble with young teams early, Matt, and it's not necessarily young teams, but it's young players, and I know I'm not talking baseball here when I bring up Jimmy Snuggerud with what Doug Armstrong said at the end of the year. He said, it's great the first year you do it, but the problem is when the league figures you out. And so the Cardinals are earlier in their season. They have young guys like J.J. Weatherholt and, Victor Scott II getting every day, Jordan Walker getting every day at bat, stuff like that. And what is the league going to do? These are smart organizations. There's reasons these people are in the big leagues. They figure people out, not only batters, but pitchers. When you look at Kyle Leahy and Andre Palante and Michael McGreevy, they figure you out. So I think the challenge will definitely be as we get towards the trade deadline and further on this year, when teams start figuring out stuff about the Cardinals, how they'll respond. Now, I think the Cardinals got a great coaching staff. I think, the players they have, they got good heads on their shoulders. But I do wonder where they can be when teams start figuring them out. And then you look at the Cubs, who've had a really good run here as of late. Milwaukee, I think, is going to be in that conversation to be at the top, which leaves you the Cardinals, Cincinnati, and the Pirates. And whatever one of those three teams just can't figure it out late. But I like the fight that the Cardinals have, but it is going to get interesting if teams start figuring things out about this team and how they react to that towards the end of the season.
They're going to see the Cubs at the end of this month, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that series looks like. I was on a bunch of Milwaukee radio stations over the last couple of days, talking to them, and I got asked a question, and I thought I hadn't really talked this out until I was thinking through a question that I got asked. I was thinking to myself, how lucky the Cardinals are that in a year where they've moved away from most of the veterans and have kind of given the keys to the car to a bunch of young guys, these young guys are guys that they're responsible. They already kind of know what it means to be a pro. They know what it means to get to the ballpark and put your work in. And there's a lot of young guys that don't know those things. And if you're turning over the keys to the car to those guys, it could turn out to be a poor thing. But the Cardinals are really lucky with the makeup of so many of these young guys they have.
I think you have to really give a lot of credit to you can say what you want about having Arenado and Goldschmidt and Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray in the clubhouse, and them kind of getting rid of those veteran guys has kind of freed up these players. And I think that's kind of a general consensus is how free they're playing, and they got this attitude about them, and I get that. But I think these players learned a ton from guys like Nato and guys like Contreras and Sonny Gray and Goldschmidt, and they're taking what they've learned from them when it comes to how to be an everyday big leaguer, not too high and not too low, and then not having a veteran in there anymore to that standard and being able to play free. I think there's you're not necessarily learning all the time from how Arenado and Goldschmidt field balls and how to become a Gold Glover in the field. I think what they learned those past few years on how to act as a big leaguer. Matt, you were in the clubhouse. Goldschmidt could go 4 for 4, and he'd be the same if he went 0 for 4. Am I wrong?
No, you're totally right.
Yeah. So when you talk to Mason Wynn or Jordan Walker or any of these guys, they're pretty level-headed, and I think that also comes with the guys that are playing for the Cardinals right now aren't new guys. They're not guys that are young in the league that they just brought in to play for the Cardinals this season. They talked about this in spring training. These are guys that played in the minor leagues together. These guys have been in Jupiter together during, minor league spring training through the past few years. They've all come up through the system together. They've learned how to be big leaguers from the Arenados and Goldschmidts and Contreras and Sonny Gray, and now they get to put their own twist on things. But mentally, they know how to be a big leaguer because they spent time with those other guys. And I truly think that is a massive part of those veterans being here that sometimes gets overlooked because you look so much on the field and not how they taught them just to act like big leaguers and know how to play 162.
Just a couple more moments with Jacob Sersosimo. Jacob, you're a big tennis guy. I work very hard. That very hard is probably a stretch. But I at least make an attempt to ask you a tennis question when I have you on most times. Mm-hmm. So here we go. There's a bit of a situation right now where a lot of the top tennis stars are very unhappy with the share of revenue coming from the French Open, and we're just on French Open's coming up very, very soon. Are these players right? I mean, there's even been some talk about maybe boycotting or do something where does this go? Because this seems like it's something that could impact things moving forward.
It could. I don't really see it making that big of a splash at the French Open just because these players can make so much money when it comes to not playing tennis. Because once you're good enough, it's not like the old days where you're only making money if you win Roland Garros. You also make money because you have 450,000 Instagram followers and you're wearing, head tennis gear, and now you're making an extra, $400K a year or whatever the case may be. I do think it's challenging when you put a tournament like Roland Garros up against a U.S. Open. The purse at the U.S. Open this year, and the U.S. Open's been ahead of the curve for decades, paying men and women the same. Not only that, but their purse is huge. Paid $5 million to the winner. Matt Pauley, you do 2 weeks of work and you get paid $5 million for winning that tournament. Yeah, I'd be upset if you go to French Open, make that money too. I'd be like, why am I not getting this? I know you guys have Rolex and Mercedes as your sponsors or whatever they have. You have the same sponsors as the U.S. Open. You're telling me you can't pay me $5 million? So I think it just depends on what's going to happen closer to the tournament. But I really don't think there's that much. Let's be fair. There's no teams in tennis. It's all individual.
Yeah.
And there's no real players union. So they can be upset about whatever they want. But at the end of the day, if one person doesn't play, they'll just lose out on a check that week and someone else will go. There's 4 Grand Slams a year. They'll play at Roland Garros.
There's been a couple dueling organizations and some other things. It seems like these tennis players.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, and it seems like they circle around unionizing, but they don't actually unionize, and it'd be very hard to do so. But is this the next sport where we see some sort of more? I don't know, very. I don't even know what I'm asking. Just like an organization that actually has some sort of pool when it comes to what's going on in some of these tournaments.
They've tried, and Novak Djokovic and Vasek Pospisil out of Canada have tried to make a players association and a players union. And at some point over the last year, I believe Novak backed out of that and said they're going in a direction I don't like anymore. And then you kind of get in this whole thing of I thought you were all for this. This was a competitive players association, and now you're against the original. And then you got to get to the drug testing part of things where, Jannik Sinner gets busted for, doping last year, but it was just, a billionth of a sample. And he said because he had a cut, so he put some ointment on it. But what was in that ointment is illegal, but it's legal in Italy where he lives. But it's illegal on tour, according to some association. But these players play in a different country every week. Matt, it's complicated.
Yeah.
I don't really have an answer for you. But tennis has got to be one of the most complicated sports when it comes to Players Association, the ATP, the WTA, and also whatever the drug association is. Will they ever get it right? Probably not. But there's so many entities involved. Also, you can't put a government on it either because it's in a different country every week. So It's complicated. It's complex. All I do know is Yannick Sinner is on a heater right now, 5th straight Masters 1000 title, and he's going to Roland Garros, and I think he's going to win it because our Carlos Alcaraz isn't playing.
Okay, very good. Jacob Sersasimo, Channel 4, Matrix Midwest, great guy. Always enjoy our conversations. Enjoy the week with no Cardinals at home, and we'll see you here very soon.
For sure. You guys just got more tennis knowledge than you need, but you got a whole month's worth right there. So we'll talk to you.
Hey, unless there's something really pressing, I'm going to try to get tennis talk in with you every single time.
Perfect. I love it on Sports Open Line. I'll take it.
All right. Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.
Jacob Sersasimo joining us here on the program. We'll take a break. Come back. I don't have a whole lot planned. I'll be honest with you. This is what you're not supposed to say on the radio. Hopefully the boss isn't listening. I don't have a whole lot planned for the final 20 minutes of this program. We'll jump back into Cardinals. I got a few things to get to, but we kind of opened up the lines and everything earlier. We got a few text messages that I didn't get to when I did that earlier, so we'll go back through those. If you want to get in here, we've probably got an opportunity for a phone call or two as well. 314-436-7900. Cardinals baseball. That's what we're talking about from here until 8 o'clock. And then we'll have the Gas House Gang replay wait, do we have that today? No, we don't, because there was no Gas House Gang replay because the Cardinals played an early game. I don't even know what's on at 8 o'clock. I'll figure that out during the break, and I will inform you when we come back. It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-478-6430 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-478-6430. That's 800-478-6430. What do you have to lose? Call 800-478-6430. Again, 800-478-6430.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6 here on KMOX.
I love i3 Broadband. They're the internet service provider at my home, and they are the absolute best. If you're ever on like any of those like Facebook groups where like people from certain communities, like I live in Chesterfield, so like I'm in like West County Facebook groups, right? And somebody will always be upset at the internet that they have. Maybe they've got the cable company, maybe they got somebody else. I'm not trying to throw other companies under the bus right now, but somebody will have like that frustrated Facebook message. Oh, I can't believe how much I'm paying for my internet. My internet's gone down again. Does anybody out there have a good recommendation for who we should go with? And you know who always gets mentioned like immediately by tons and tons of people? Because I'm not the only person out there who loves them. It's i3 Broadband. So if you have i3 Broadband, you love them. I'm telling you, you love them because they do the three things that you need an internet provider to do. They give you really good service that's super reliable and super fast. Those are two things: reliability, speed, and then the cost. I feel very comfortable with what I pay on a monthly basis. I never feel like I am getting gouged for money or I'm not getting my money's worth. Put your address in. They're not available everywhere. They're still a growing company. They're still building out their network. So maybe you've looked before. Go look again. Head to i3broadband.com/radio. i3broadband.com/radio. Right there, it will say enter your address below to see if i3 network is available. Put your address in, see if they're available. If they are, start going through the process and do some investigation on if it's good. If they're not available, keep checking because they're always building out the network to more and more areas. i3broadband.com/radio.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett. I'm a board-certified master arborist, and I've been caring for St. Louis trees for over 25 years. Today, I'm going to help you choose a tree care contractor. Here's how it's done, so pay close attention. First, call everyone you know who has ever done any type of outdoor work, including that cousin that used to sleep on your couch. Leave them all messages and wait around to see if they call back. Here's a hint, they won't. Now, post to all your social media that you are looking for recommendations for a good tree service. Now beware because there will be hundreds of different recommendations. So you need to carefully go through each one, checking that they have the proper insurance, background checks, and even the slightest idea of what they're doing. Schedule a bunch of appointments, and when nobody shows up, get really frustrated and put the whole project off for another year. Or you could just call Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or visit us online at stltreecare.com.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Taking you till 8 o'clock. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us tonight. A couple segments left in the program, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. Have a few text messages that have come in. Somebody's asking, this is actually a big thing right now in Major League Baseball. We are seeing more and more teams. It's not that many, but we are seeing a handful more teams go to pitches being called from the bench as opposed to catchers calling pitches. And had a text message from 314 asking if the Cardinals do that. They do not. It is still the catcher who is calling the game, and thankfully so. I'm not a big fan of pitches being called from the bench. I understand always trying to maybe do things differently. You know, the Marlins are a team that do that. There's some other teams that have kind of gone along with it, but I'm very old school in that. I hope that catchers continue to call games. Text message from the 563 says, do I think that we are going to see at some point this year Brian Torres get an opportunity with the Cardinals? He's doing well. Memphis can play both the infield and the outfield. I would think at some point. They added him to the 40-man roster this year. Every year, there's kind of a push for 40-man roster spots. So you probably want to at least see him in the big leagues at some point this year, just to kind of get even more of an idea of what you have. I mean, they see him a lot in spring and everything, but I would think at some point this year, Torres gets an opportunity. There probably has to be like an actual opportunity. And Cesar Prieto has put up really good numbers this year. He was that first guy to get the opportunity. Maybe if that situation plays out again, if Prieto ends up getting sent down at some point and the same situation occurs the way this one did with Ramon Arias getting injured, maybe it is Torres, but I would suspect that we are likely to see Torres at some point this year. Justin has given us a call. Hey, Justin, you're on Sports Open Line.
Hey, I have a question. What do you think the Cardinals are going to do when Lars Newbar comes back?
Yeah, Justin, appreciate it. And I just mentioned Ramon Arias being on the injured list. I think that plays into this whole thing as well. I don't know. Not that Arias is likely to be out for a full month, and we're still about a month out from Newbar returning to the Cardinals. I think it's going to be early June when he gets back. He has not yet played in a single rehab assignment game, so they haven't even opened up the window yet on his rehab assignment. So we'll see what things look like. If Lars Nootbaar was here tomorrow, I think Nathan Church would get most of the time in center field, and Newt Barr would play a lot of time in left field. But right at the beginning, Newt Barr's not going to play every day. I think you need to be a little bit more careful with Newt Barr as well. He has not shown the ability to stay healthy. So when somebody has not shown the ability to stay healthy, what you do is you maybe take the stress off them a little bit by having them playing a little bit less. And the Cardinals, from a pitching standpoint, the Cardinals have been great at that. Have you noticed how many former Cardinals pitchers have ended up on the injured list here recently? Steven Matz went on, Ryan Helsley went on, Phil Maton is on, Kyle Sixto. Who am I missing? I feel like there's one more.
Sonny Gray was on.
Sonny Gray was on. I feel like there was another one I can't think of. But Cardinals, Cardinals are going to have pitchers on the injured list for sure. Maybe Steven Matz can't be a starting pitcher and stay healthy because he was doing a really good job in Tampa. And but then he's starting every fifth day, putting up pretty solid numbers, and he gets injured. And when he was starting with the Cardinals, he got injured. Maybe the secret sauce for Matt staying healthy is he just has to work out of the bullpen. That's the only way for him to stay healthy. So again, I know the question wasn't about pitching and staying healthy, but my point is with Newt Barr, health is going to play into this. What do you have to do to keep him healthy? If Ramon Urias is back active, and we'll see where there's so many. It's hard to answer this question because we don't know what the situation is going to look like at the time. So JC and Fermin getting these outfield opportunities because you were without Newt Barr and you wanted to have some right-handed options. Well, then Sajaci ends up getting sent down because they really want him to play more. They had to bring him up. There's this necessity because you lose Urias. So Sajaci's back, but he's not going to get much playing time. I would think unless something crazy happens, they probably still in a perfect world want to get Sajaci to Memphis so he can play every day, and he can start to gain a little bit of traction with that. So I don't know who would go down. I don't know what it was going to look like. All I know is I'm pretty confident in saying that if Lars Nootbaar was back with the team tomorrow, I think we would probably see more of Nathan Church in center field than Victor Scott II in center field. Not that it would even be like an 80-20 split. I think we'd still see Scott there a fair amount. But is there a scenario where Scott gets sent to AAA? I think there's a scenario. I don't think it's a likely scenario. And to Scott's credit, the at-bats for him lately have looked a little bit better. He's got 3 hits in his last 2 games. He hit the home run against Pittsburgh last week. So it's looking a little bit better for Scott. But it's looked pretty good for Church. We'll get more information. Church got hurt today, had to come out of the game. I know he was walking gingerly in the clubhouse after the game, but he told folks in there that he was going to be okay. So I think he's going to be all right. So that's a really long, meandering answer to what are the Cardinals going to do. I don't even know if it was an answer. It was just a running stream of consciousness on what that question made me think about. So I hope that's good enough for you. If not, we can talk about it again at some point in the future. One more break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this edition of the program. You're locked in. It's a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
On Saturday, May 16th, join KMOX and Grassroots Redeeming Love in commemorating 1 year since the historic EF3 tornado that devastated North St. Louis with a short morning of service. Volunteers will meet in the Kingsway East neighborhood from 9 to 11 to help clear tree limbs and trash. If interested in RSVPing for the cleanup or interested in donating to the effort, go to KMOX.com/events for more information.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I went to Staples for a custom printed graduation banner and invites and saw that Party City is now at Staples.
Wait, what?
Party City is now at Staples.
So now Staples has balloons?
Yep.
Decorations?
Yes.
Streamers, cups, table covers?
Yep, Staples has everything for a party. And now buy 2 get 1 free on select foil balloons.
Holy confetti! So the best party started at Staples.
That was easy.
In 613 select stores, exclusions apply. In-store or buy online. Pick up in-store only.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created Neovitin Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, or online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, made for men who keep moving forward.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Corey, from Air Comfort Service? Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We are starting to wrap up this edition of the program. We'll be with you again. You're going to get way too much of me. That's going to let me preface it with this. You are going to get way too much of me. And maybe you already think that without the extra stuff. Maybe you're like, yeah, we know, Pauley. We get enough of you already. You're going to get way too much of me over the next couple days because the Cardinals play West Coast games, and they're late enough that we are going to have time to do our entire Sports Open Line plus Redbird Rush Hour, so 5 to 8. That's 3 hours. And then we're going to have another hour's worth of pregame and another hour's worth of postgame. We're going to be doing that over the next few days. So I will stick with my original statement that you are going to get way too much of me. And all I can do is apologize. I can't do anything more than that. By the way, earlier in the program, I said, I don't know what's coming up at 8 o'clock. It's because I don't read my emails, which I should really do more often. We've got this thing that we're doing here at KMOX. It's really cool. It's called America 250. And John Hancock and Michael Kelly are doing a series of shows recognizing significant moments of America's 250th. Now, generally, you're going to hear this on Sunday mornings, 8 to 9, but we know that not everybody is listening on the radio Sunday mornings, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So, depending on the Cardinals schedule and things like that, we're popping these in occasionally weeknights, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this is just going to be a great series of shows that Hancock and Kelly do. Tonight's show is going to be all on the American Revolution. Some of the other topics in this series, they're going to do a show on Washington, Adams, and Jefferson. Going to do a full show just on Abraham Lincoln. Going to do the Roosevelts. Going to do one on World War, Federalist Papers, St. Louis in the 1980s, the Arch, like just really cool stuff. So don't go anywhere. Be tuned in. Hancock and Kelly, two of the most wonderful, amazing people you can ever experience in your life, doing something that's very cool with this show, America 250. So that's going to be coming up in just a few moments. Cardinals, Padres tomorrow, opening up a 4-game series. We're going to have it for you. We're going to have all the games for you here on KMOX. Matthew Liberatore is going to pitch tomorrow against Michael King, and we're going to get coverage started just after Sports Open Line. It's going to be like, I think it's 8:15 for our pregame start tomorrow. So I'll talk to you tomorrow, 5 o'clock for Redbird Rush Hour, and then we're going to spend all night together here on KMOX.
This is the story of the one.
As a procurement manager for a hospital